atmosphere here at the Silverdome, and why not? The Lions know if they win, they're in, and for them, the postseason begins today. Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Miller along with Jeff Lageman, and you know, this is what teams fight all year for, the right to control their own playoff destiny. But, Jeff, you've been here as a player, and sometimes that pressure can work against you.
Yeah, I've been in a must-win situation twice before as a player. It does a great job of focusing a team in its week's preparation, but the pressure can be immense when it becomes kickoff time. It is going to be critical for the Detroit Lions to get off to a fast start so they can play loose and relaxed football. Now, the Chicago Bears came into the season with high expectations. They need to finish the last game of the year with a win so they can go into the offseason with some positive feelings. Now, there's been a change at the starting quarterback position. The players are ready to rally around Shane Matthews. And the other thing that from talking to all the Bear players that was a real common denominator, they would like nothing better than to send the Detroit Lions home for Christmas.
All right, you mentioned Shane Matthews. Let's talk about his counterpart, Charlie Batch. He has struggled. The Lions' offense has struggled. If they want to win today, if they want to win in the playoffs, they've got to score more points. They've averaged 13 points a game over their last 3.
Yeah, they have. And I talked to Charlie Batch before the game. He's been playing since Thanksgiving Day with 2 broken ribs. So it's going to be critical for James Stewart to be the workhorse like he was last week against the New York Jets in the one area in which Detroit has done all year long. They must win the turnover battle today.
These two teams know each other well. This will be the 141st meeting between the Lions and the Bears. We're coming back with a kickoff right after this.
You're watching the NFL on Fox. To the following presentation of the National Football League.
Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome back to the Silverdome. Lions getting set to take on the Bears. Take a look at our head coaches for today. Dick Duran wrapping up his 2nd season with the Bears, 24 years as a player and a coach in the NFL. Gary Moeller is in his 7th game as the Lions head coach since taking over for Bobby Ross when he resigned back on November the 6th.
And from talking to Gary Moeller yesterday, we asked him, what is it going to take for this team to win in the must-win situations? He says, no big plays, win the turnover battle, play hard but smart.
Lions have played some smart football this year, in particular on defense. They have done a great job, and that will probably have to carry them through today. Playoff scenario, it's simple for the Lions. If they win, they are in the playoffs. They could get in, Jeff, if they lose, but they would need both the Rams and the Packers to lose as well.
Yeah, but as players, they're not concerned about any scenario past what you can read right there at the top, and that is win and you're in. There's nothing better than, as a player, to be in control of your own destiny.
And that is what they have talked about all week long. Conversely, the Bears have talked about taking that control away from the Lions, and they will start with the football. Bears won the toss. They will receive. Number 24, Glenn Milburn is deep. Jason Hansen set to kick, and we are ready to go at the Silverdome. A low liner hits down around the 10. It's Milburn inside the 5. Milburn back to the 20, over the 25, out to about the 27. And that's where the Bears will start on offense. Kevin O'Neill with the special teams stop, a 22-yard return. Taking a look at the Chicago lineup, Shane Matthews will be the quarterback today. Matthews coming off the best start of his career. The offensive line, a good one, in particular James Williams, the big cat, at right tackle. James Allen has emerged as the prime back for the Bears, a 1,000-yard runner.
And there's Cade McNown, who returns to the bench, came back last week from an injury and played, and had an absolute horrible performance, and that's why he's back on the sideline.
First play of the game, Bears want to go to the air. Matthews throws it out to the right side. Cassim Cincino, the tight end, has it. Not much there, though. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Lions defense, and it starts up front with their Pro Bowl tackle, Luther Ellis. And also Robert Porcher, defensive end, 8 sacks for him so far this year. Stephen Boyd headed to his 2nd consecutive Pro Bowl as well. The middle linebacker to the secondary, Kywin Supernaw, gets the start for Kurt Schultz.
And Shane Matthews told us yesterday they're going to look to throw the ball early against the Detroit Lions, and they have so far.
2 tight ends set. They run the ball here. It's James Allen over the right side. Not much there as he's stopped by Luther Ellis.
When you talk about this, the key matchups in this ball game, Chicago, Shane Matthews said that they want to come out and throw the ball. For the Detroit Lions, they need to make Chicago completely one-dimensional, not a balanced offense. And those guys up front, Luther Ellis, Stephen Boyd, and James Jones, the triangle, those guys are as good as any in the league, if not one of the best. Those guys can be dominant in the middle, and they will look to be dominant today against the Chicago Bears.
Third down, 8 for the Bears, 6 defensive backs for the Lions. Matthews throws it over the middle, complete, not going to be enough for the first down. Nice defensive play by Lamar Campbell, who stopped Marty Booker at his tracks.
And out of those 3 downs, Chicago passed 2 of those. Now, Shane Matthews took 2 hits on both of those passes. This time it's from right end Tracy Scroggins. The last time it came from the other side, and Robert Porcher, who's got a great matchup going against James Big Cat Williams. That guy is a monster.
So on 4th down, Louis Aguiar comes in to punt for the Bears. Deep for the Lions, the ever-dangerous Desmond Howard going to his first Pro Bowl this year.
Let's go.
Aguiar with a high punt, and Howard calls for a fair catch. Makes it down around the 29-yard line, and that's where the Lions will start after a 35-yard punt.
And a nice kick by Louis Aguiar with the hang time so that Desmond Howard couldn't get a return started.
Checking the lineup now for the Detroit Lion offense. Charlie Batch will key things. He will start at quarterback, and he has struggled, as we said. No touchdown passes in his last 3 games. Up front, the rookie, Stocker McDougal at the important left tackle position. Ray Roberts, the other tackle. Behind Charlie Batch, James Stewart, over 1,000 yards for the season. Johnny Morton, the team's leading receiver. 1st and 10 for the Lions for their own 29. Stewart is the deep back, Schlesinger the up back behind Batch, and they'll go to the air. That's Moore to his left. Moore has to lay out for the catch and doesn't get much after he comes up with it. Pick up a 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Checking now that Bear defense. Their front line is a good one. In particular, the 2 tackles, Jim Flanagan and Mike Wells. They key the attack at linebacker. Brian Urlacher, the rookie, Pro Bowl alternate, leads the team in tackles and has already set a team record for a rookie in that category. Mike Brown, another rookie. They have done a great job with their draft. He's 2nd on the team in tackles, so they're getting some instant payoff there, Jeff.
Yes, they are. Would you like to have production out of your high picks in the draft, and they're doing just that.
On 2nd down, James Stewart gets the call and gets some good room up the middle. Stewart with the game tackle by Troy Wilson, but not before Stewart can pick up 6. It'll bring up 3rd and 1.
And, you know, in the opening we talked about that it's going to be critical for James Stewart to be the workhorse. As you saw on that 1st down, Charlie backs through, just basically took the snap, stood up, threw the ball to Herman Moore, and it wasn't accurate. And that's as easy as a throw as you can make as a quarterback. So the real big matchup that's going to be, we're going to be watching on Detroit's offensive side of the ball is the inside 3 guys. Compton, Tony Semple, and Jeff Hardy are going against Flanagan and Wells.
2 tight ends on 3rd and short. James Stewart gets the call. James Stewart gets the first down, and he's brought down by Brian Robinson. Pick up a 4, 1st and 10 Lions.
And James Stewart is a big, powerful back. He's not the kind of back that's going to give you a home run and run for 70 or 80 yards. But I want you to watch. This is just a lead play going up into the formation, and Corey Schlesinger does a real nice job of getting the block. Corey Schlesinger, you know, fullbacks, they never get a whole lot of publicity, but he has been very solid for the Detroit Lions.
Lions stay with the 2 tight end set. Walter Radley, that's David Sloan in motion. Match back to throw. Pocket holds, throws out over the middle, and has Sloan to the left side. Sloan with another first down, pick up of 12 on the play.
That was a real nice job by David Sloan of holding on to the ball because Thomas Smith hit him right after he got the ball in his hands.
We talked yesterday, Gary Moeller, about getting Charlie Batch off to a good start. He said he wanted to call some plays in which Batch could complete passes and get some confidence.
And he did. The first play of the game was that quick hitch to Herman Moore on the right side of the formation, and then the second throw here was to David Sloan on just an easy little 5-yard route. They want to get Charlie Batch into a comfort zone.
Sloan's been quiet of late, only 4 catches over his last 3 games. Now Batch back to pass, looks to his right and just has to throw it away as the pressure was coming from the inside. Mike Wells, the former Lion, after Charlie on that play.
And as we talked about, the big matchup in the middle between Mike Wells, Jim Flanagan against Mike Compton, Tony Semple, and Jeff Hardings. That's the area that's going to win or lose this football game for the Detroit Lions as far as this battle is concerned. And Mike Wells is not playing completely healthy. I talked with him before the game. He has a left arthritic shoulder that is going to be a candidate for a shoulder replacement not too far away. So he's not 100% healthy, but he is still incredibly strong and effective.
2nd and 10 for the Lions at the Bears' 46-yard line. Herman Moore in motion. Batch again to throw. Pocket holds. Looks over the middle and finds Morton down around the 30-yard line. Johnny Morton with a connection. Mike Brown the tackle, but not before the Lions can pick up 17.
The reason this play worked, first off, was Charlie Bouch was given the time, and secondly, Johnny Morton got separation. This has been a problem for Detroit over the last few weeks, and he does a nice job of finding the hole in the zone. Charlie Batch sat back there in what Gary Moeller talked about comfort zone. Well, Charlie Batch had it. He didn't have anybody within 3-4 yards of him on that field.
3 receivers in the game now for the Lions. Number 82, Jermaine Crowell is checked in. James Stewart, the lone setback. 1st and 10 at the Bear 29-yard line. It's Stewart with the call and running left. Not much room there as he's run out of bounds by number 21, R.W. McQuarters.
And this kind of running play is not what James Stewart does best. He doesn't have great speed to where he can get out to the outside and turn the corner and get up the field. Detroit runs a lot of power zone, and what that does is allow James Stewart to get the ball about 5 yards deep and pick and find his holes, but in a north and south fashion. That kind of play, that's not his forte.
2nd down 9. Lions on their opening possession of the ball game here in the first quarter. You know the story. If the Lions win, they are in the playoffs. The Rams keeping an eye on this one. The Packers keeping an eye on this one. And the Bears keeping an eye on James Stewart right there, who tries the middle of the line, but doesn't find anything there. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8 for the Lions.
And this is a big 3rd down. If they can get this 1st down, obviously they continue the drive. But if they don't, if they end up having an incompletion here, this is a very, very long field goal, about 40, 45 yards. So this is in a situation where you'd like to go ahead and at least get 4 or 5 yards to make it a little bit easier for your kicker, Jason Hansen.
3rd and 8 for the Lions. 3 receivers into the game. Stewart, the lone setback. Batch will go from the shotgun. Mario Bates to his right. Batch, blitz is coming, gets away, throws it over the middle. That is Johnny Morton down around the 20-yard line. A nice catch, but not enough for the 1st down. Brian Urlacher tracked him down at about the 21. Pick up a 4 on the play, and it'll bring up 4th down, and Jason Hansen will come on.
And I want you to watch, coming off of this side of the formation is safety Frankie Smith on the blitz, and Batch does a great job of making a miss. And look at the catch by Johnny Morton. He doesn't get the 1st down, but prior to this play, we talked about getting a few yards on the play to make it a little bit easier for Jason Hansen, and they did just that.
Jason Hansen on for a 41-yard field goal attempt. So far this season, Hansen 3 out of 6 between 40 and 49 yards. Hunter John Jett with the hold, gets it down. Hansen with the kick. Hits the upright and goes through. So the Lions get a good bounce as far as they're concerned and lead this game by a score of 3-0 after their first possession. We'll take a break and come right back to the Silverdome after this. There's certainly a holiday feel here at the Silverdome as the Lions try to secure a playoff spot. They lead 3-0. Jason Hansen, a 41-yard field goal. Bears will get the ball back after going 3 and out on their first possession. Glenn Milburn again deep for Chicago. Jason Hansen set to kick. Much better kick this time than the first time around. Milburn will take it down around his 2. Back out to the 20, and not much more than that. Brought down by Scott Kolkowski. Ball's on the ground. We'll see if the official ruled it down. No, he doesn't. That's Lions football. So Glenn Milburn coughs it up, and the Lions come up with a football. Looked like number 25, Jeremy Lincoln, might have been in there on it.
And this is exactly what the Lions need in a high-pressure, must-win situation to get a turnover early so they can get up on the Chicago Bears early in this ball game.
Well, high pressure can bring out high tempers as well, and we've got a flag down there. So there was a little extracurricular activity going on.
And high pressure not only with the Detroit Lions, but also frustration on the Chicago Bears side of the ball from having such a disappointing season.
Tom White with a call. going to go against Chicago, and that hurts. And that's one thing you don't want to happen if you're the Bears. You don't want to give anything to Detroit. First with the fumble, Jeff, then with the penalty.
And Dick Duran is obviously not very happy. Scott Kolakowski there does a real nice job.
We have a fumble recovery. It'll be Detroit's ball with a first down. And a continuing action, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 74, Chicago. That'll be half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Tom White with the call. Lions will take over on their own 9, leading 3-0 and looking for more. We'll find out what they get when we come back.
And Scott Kolakowski is the special teams captain for a reason. I want you to watch as he comes into your picture right there. That's him. Look, the right arm come in and knock the ball out on Glenn Milburn, and the recovery happens. An excellent job in a high-pressure game to get the turnover early and give your offense the ball at point-blank range.
And they've got it into 9. 2 setbacks behind Charlie Batch. Corey Schlesinger, James Stewart. Batch to throw into the end zone. Looking for Sloan. Got him. Touchdown, Lions. David Sloan with a touchdown, and the Lions jump on top 9-0, an extra point away from making it 10. And this is exactly what they wanted to do, Jeff, get out to a big lead as quickly as possible and try to take some of the air out of the Bears, because knowing Chicago just doesn't have much to play for.
And David Sloan, who was a Pro Bowler in 1999, did an excellent job of positioning his body through the route to beat Sean Harris for the touchdown.
Extra point is good. Lions lead by a score of 10-0. 10 points in 17 seconds for Detroit. We'll see if Chicago can answer when we come back. Jack of the year. Jason Hansen set to kick off for the Lions. Again, Glenn Milburn, who just popped it up a moment ago, deep for Chicago. Milburn driven back into his end zone for this one. He'll bring it out from about 4 yards deep. Milburn to the 10, the 15, out to the 20, taken down at about the 21-yard line. Clint Freewalt with the tackle. That's where the Bears will begin on offense.
And taking a look at the touchdown, that's David Sloan at the tight end spot, and Sean Harris right there in coverage on him. And Sean Harris just overruns his zone. He gets outside of David Sloan. And look at Kolakowski, the reaction. Whenever you get a turnover, force of turnover to get points in one play, a great feeling, especially out of a guy who's been basically a career special teamer.
David Sloan, Scott Kolakowski there on the Lions bench. Shane Matthews in at quarterback for the Bears. Nobody behind him. 5 receivers in the game. He told us he wanted to pass, and he does here. Gets it out to Marty Booker. Booker out near the first down marker. It'll be very, very close. Taken down by Alan Aldridge.
And Chicago needs to answer the 10 points that Detroit has put up. This is the last game of the year for them. There's nothing past this game. It's a game in which there's not a whole lot of motivation to begin with. And if you get down early and you don't have any positive feedback early in this ball game, this could get ugly.
James Allen back in as the deep back for the Bears. Scott Dragos in front of him. Allen gets the call out over the 35-yard line to about the 36. Stephen Boyd on the tackle. For a check of what else is happening around the National Football League, let's send it back to Los Angeles. And James Brown, JB.
Hey, Dan and Jeff. Marshall Faulk continuing his assault on the single-season touchdown record. This little wide flare from Warner, 13 yards. He's got 24 touches on the season, one away from Emmitt Smith's record. Back to my guy, Dan Miller and Jeff Lagerman.
All right, thank you very much, JB. Rams know that to get into the playoffs, they need Detroit to either lose or tie today, and they need to win that game against the Saints. Will they get help from the Bears? That's the question. See what the call is here from referee Tom White. It looks like it's going to go against Chicago.
Yeah, it's going to be a false start. Detroit creeps up into the line of scrimmage to show a blitz, and one of the offensive linemen for Chicago ended up moving, trying to anticipate the snap count.
Illegal snap, number 60, double clutch the ball. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That'll make it 2nd and 12 for the Bears.
And that's Casey Wegman, the center, who is starting now because of Olin Kreutz is on injured reserve. with an injury. And Wegman's done a nice job for Chicago, but, you know, anytime you're on a football team that's struggling offensively as they have, you'd like to have every starter you could possibly have.
Matthews again to throw. Over the middle has Dragos. Close to the 40-yard line. Corralled there by Stephen Boyd. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Pickup of 10 on the play.
And those guys, Scott Dragos and Stephen Boyd, were teammates at Boston College, and we were talking to Stephen Boyd, and he said, oh, I can't wait to play Scott Dragos. Stephen Boyd is a great player at the middle linebacker spot. You know, he's not a guy that I think a lot of people would think that he's fast or he's superly athletic. He's just always in position and makes plays, and it helps playing behind a guy like a Luther Ellis.
Both of them Pro Bowlers this year. Second time for each of them. 3rd down, 2 for the Bears. Dragos in motion. Matthews to throw. Looking for Dragos. Instead finds Cincino. It looked almost like that pass was going for Dragos, and Cincino came up and grabbed it. But at any rate, it's going to be a 1st down for Chicago. Again, Boyd on the tackle.
And so far, the Lions' defense is a little bit different than they were last week against the Jets. The Jets used so many different multiple formations and personnels that Detroit stayed very vanilla. And today, Detroit has gone after them on about 3 or 4 occasions with the blitz. And that's what Boyd said. He said, we're going to be aggressive, so look for Claiborne when he's in there to be the blitzer. 4 receivers for Chicago as they approach midfield. Now they cross it with James Allen carrying the football down to 48. And that's somewhat important because they did not cross midfield last week against San Francisco. No, they didn't. And you know, if you look at some of the statistics for Chicago last week against San Francisco, Louis Aguiar punted 9 times last week. Cade McNown had 9 completions, and their offense only had 8 first downs. So, you know, another thing to look for today is Louis Aguiar's leg strength. He might be tired from last week's game.
2nd down, 7 for Chicago. Matthews again to give to Allen. Pushes the pile, picks up a couple. It'll bring up 3rd down. Gain of 3, 3rd and 3.
3 yards and no ball of dust since it's AstroTurf. And in Chicago, like I said, they need to answer the 10 points by Detroit. Otherwise, this could be a long day for the Chicago Bears.
Let me guarantee you one thing. Had we been outside today, it would be a ball of snow. There's no dust to be found anywhere in Michigan at this point.
There's nobody happier than these players that Detroit has a dome right now.
You and me.
Maybe the fans and me and you as well.
3rd and 3, 4 receivers for the Bears. Matthews in the shotgun. Allen to his right. Matthews under pressure, gets it away to Booker, complete. That'll be a 1st down. Kolkowski with a tackle. But they're inside the Lion 35, down to about the 34. Gain of 10, 1st and 10.
And this is what Shane Matthews gives you. Physically, he's not one of the most talented guys in the National Football League, but from talking to a lot of the players and also the coaches for the Chicago Bears, they said this guy is incredibly smart. He can come off the field and tell you exactly what happened and what they can and cannot do in that 5-second interval with the play action itself.
Matthews 6 out of 6, now 7 out of 7, again to Booker. And Booker has somewhat emerged as his favorite target, and the favorite target of these Bear quarterbacks, considering the fact that they lost Marcus Robinson and they lost Bobby Ingram earlier this year.
And that's, you know, when we asked Shane Matthews, do you have a favorite target? And he said, well, it's kind of tough since, you know, the big guys are out, Marcus and Bobby, but he also has a veteran on the field, number 82, Eddie Kennison, and also Booker. And these 2 guys, you know, Booker's really starting to step up, whereas Kennison is a veteran guy. So he's got 2 guys that he feels comfortable with.
2nd one from the 25. Allen gets the call, gets away from Claiborne, dances a little bit. Great individual move there. Down near the 20-yard line. That'll be a 1st down, but it didn't look, Jeff, like he had anywhere to go.
Yeah, he didn't have much of anywhere to go, that's for sure. And we talked about the blitzing with the Detroit Lions. And look right here, that's Claiborne coming in on the blitz, but they just couldn't make the play. And James Allen is a good running back. I mean, this guy went into training camp, and you got Curtis Enos, who was a high draft pick, and he just flat beat him out.
And he's over 1,000 yards for the season. We talked to him yesterday. He would love to get that average up over 4 yards a carry with a big effort today. Matthews back, sets up the screen. That's Allen on the catch. Down near the 15, stopped at about the 16-yard line. Chris Claiborne stopping him there. Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 coming up.
And this is what we expected out of Chicago's offense. Last week against the 49ers, it was embarrassing. They had drop passes, missed assignments, missed blocks. They got beat mentally and physically. And today with Shane Matthews in the lineup, the players have taken it up a notch. And in talking to a lot of these players, they were not happy with Cade McNown in the starting lineup. They just felt that he did not give them the best chance to win.
Dick Geron made it clear to us, though, that this rumored player revolt, as far as he knew, didn't happen. He switched quarterbacks based on performance. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Lions 10 and the Bears nothing, but Chicago on the move. Fox NFL Sunday from Detroit will continue after these messages. Second down and 5 from the 16. Matthews with Dragos and Allen behind him and 2 tight ends in the game. Now Dragos in motion. Allen again the call. Nothing there. He's just snowed under at about the 17. He lost one.
And a big play for Detroit there to force Detroit to lose yardage. I want you to watch. Exactly, it was a stunt with Robert Porcher, and it's what we call a TE. The tackle goes first into the guard tackle gap, and Porcher loops all the way underneath, and he came in untouched and ended up disrupting James Allen to allow his teammates to get in there and make the play. Big third down right here.
Third down and 6. Booker in motion behind Matthews, who wants to throw. Now out of the pocket and down he'll go. All sorts of traffic in there, and Matthews couldn't escape, and that'll bring up 4th down. Nice play by Tracy Scroggins, who was in there on pressure.
And that was really a team sack. I mean, there was nobody that really broke free. But as you'll see, when Matthews gets into the pocket, it's just a lot of push. It's nobody that's free. And Matthews, that clock that's going off in his head, 1001, 1002, 1003, I need to get rid of the ball, and I haven't. He starts getting nervous and actually runs up into the line of scrimmage and just trips and falls. And then he gets tagged, and it's a sack.
Paul Edinger on to try a 37-yard field goal. It's up and good for the former Michigan State product that's well known in these parts. So the Bears are on the board. Lions lead at 10-3. We'll be right back.
You better watch out. You better not cry.
I need a car.
Shopping for a used car will never be the same.
No, a convertible. A red one. With under 15,000 miles.
Welcome to Autotrader.com. With 1.5 million used cars updated daily, it's the biggest, best used car site on the planet.
You couldn't help me with a loan, could you? Some of the beautiful sights from the southeastern Michigan area. Santa making an appearance today. Even a small future Santa as well. Lions leading 10-3. Edinger the kick. Desmond Howard takes it at his own 3. Howard back to the 15, to the 25, out near the 30, taken down at about the 28-yard line, and that's where the Lions will take over with the lead 10-3. We'll be back with more right after this.
Coming up, from the bottom
Back at the Silver Dome, Lions leading Chicago by a score of 10-3, 13:40 to go in the second quarter. Lions with the football, they'll take over at their own 28-yard line.
I'm counting on everybody.
Both quarterbacks have been on a roll so far in this game. Shane Matthews 8 for 8, Charlie Batch 5 out of 6, and Batch has a touchdown pass to David Sloan.
And Charlie Batch playing with 2 broken ribs that he received Thanksgiving Day, and he said that, you know, they tried to shoot it up to block the pain, but he says they just couldn't find the exact pain location.
Well, there's less pain when you're leading in the ball game as the Lions are right now. Batch with a give to Stewart. Stewart is stuffed right in the middle of the pack there. Nice play in there by Sean Harris. Once again, Jeff, taking a look at that playoff picture and how things shake out today. There's your division leaders. We know that the Giants, the Vikings, and New Orleans have already clinched divisions.
And the Giants clinched home field throughout with their victory yesterday against Jacksonville.
We know the Eagles are in. We know the Bucks are in. That final spot is up for the grabs, and the Lions can get it with a victory today. Batch to throw on second down. In trouble. Finally gets it away to Stewart, and he's got some room over the left side to the sideline and out over the 45 to the 46. That'll be a first down for the Lions. 17 yards on the play.
And what a job by Charlie Batch creating time in the pocket. And then doing the smart thing, not deciding to run to risk a hit, in that rib area and just dumps it off to James Stewart, and James Stewart does a real nice job of getting lots of yardage on that play. James Stewart is a guy that he's a good short yardage back. He's a power back. He's not a home run back. He's also a good back out of the backfield in the passing game. He's kind of an all-around running back.
3 receivers in the game for the Lions. Stewart again behind Batch, who will throw. Looking deep down the right side. Looking for more. In and out of the hands of Herman Moore, and he knows he should have caught that one.
And Herman, you have got to catch that ball. This is the area in which, talking to head coach yesterday, Gary Moeller, he said, you know, we haven't been able to get the ball deep. He says the ball is not, we've had separation deep, but we haven't been able to get the ball right there on the money. And you couldn't ask for a better throw by Charlie Batch to Herman Moore. And that was perfect.
Picking on Jerry Azuma there. The Lions told us they believe Thomas Smith is the best corner the Bears have. They'll go after Azuma this afternoon. 2 tight ends set for the Lions. Morton in motion. Stewart with the call. Little bit of room, but he stopped very, very quickly. Nice defense in there by the Bears. Looked like there was a hole for a moment, but not much daylight for Stewart.
Boy, and you go back to that long pass that Herman dropped. That's a touchdown. That's a 17-3 ball game in the second quarter. Couldn't ask for anything better than that.
And what Herman Moore certainly hopes is that that's not a big topic of conversation after the football game.
Well, if this game comes down to the wire and Detroit loses, that could be a play in which big-time missed opportunity.
3rd down and 10 for the Lions. Mario Bates in at running back. 3 receivers set. Batch again to throw. Looking over the middle for Crowell, and it looked like maybe Crowell lost the football with the official right in front of him.
And we were talking to Jim Flanagan about Charlie Batch's ribs and said, you know, the player's aware of Charlie's ribs, and he says, you betcha. Take a look at where the shot is delivered by Roosevelt Colvin, right in the midsection. They know, players know. I mean, they read the injury report, they know. Anytime you can take an opposing team's quarterback out of the game with a fair legal hit in an area in which he's got an injury, they're going to take advantage of it every time.
We asked Jim Flanagan if there was a bullseye on those ribs. He said, absolutely. John Jett with a punt. Glenn Milburn, the fair catch down around the 8-yard line, and that's where the Bears will take over, trailing at this one at the Silverdome by a score of 10-3.
And or drivers. By Labor Rating, dependable temporary labor guaranteed. By Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Gateway. In Gateway Country, people rule.
Back at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Bears with a football at their own 9, trailing by a score of 10-3. So they take over, backed up a bit. Shane Matthews has been strong so far in this game, 8 out of 8. James Allen, the setback behind him. And he gets the call. Out over the 10 to the 15 and up near the 20-yard line. Big pickup, close to a first down. Give him 11, and it is the first down. Coming up next, it's the second part of our Fox NFL doubleheader. The Vikings look to wrap up the NFC Central against the Colts team fighting for a wild card berth in the AFC. It is coming up next on Fox.
And that's a good matchup right there. Minnesota needs to get that game in the win column because they've lost a lot of momentum that they had about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Edgerrin James and Robert Smith, a couple of backs that'll be a lot of fun to watch in that one. 1st and 10 Bears. Matthews back, perfect on the day, 8 for 8, make it 9 for 9. Excuse me, did I jump the gun on that? And it was a big hit that stopped that play. Eddie Kennison looked to me like he had it for all the day, but he was separated from the football.
Well, and Eddie Kennison is a track guy. He does not like going across the middle. He likes being vertical. But it's something that they've had to ask him to do because of the injuries to Robinson and Ingram. I tell you what, I think Eddie Kennison's going to go to the sideline and say, Coach, I need to be vertical a little more in this ball game.
I'll tell you what, he went from vertical to horizontal compliments of Chris Claiborne. 2 tight ends for the Bears, 2nd and 10 from their 20. Matthews to throw again. This time does and gets it out to number 85, Cassine Cincino. Brought down immediately, but again, close to first down yardage. Looks like it'll be 3rd and 1.
And nice pressure by Luther Ellis on that play. Luther Ellis is big man. I mean, you talk about James Big Cat Williams, but Luther Ellis is also a guy in which is very physically imposing. We were talking to Stephen Boyd about Luther. He says, you know, that guy's amazing. He said it's the end of the year, and he'll go in the weight room and put 500 pounds on in the bench press and do it 2 or 3 times. Stephen said, I can't do 225 a couple times at this point in the season.
Play clock down to 4-3, and Matthews sees it, and he'll have to call timeout.
Chicago.
So Chicago in a little trouble there. Avoids the flag. They'll take a timeout. We will too. Bears down 7. We're coming right back.
Holly jolly kid at Christmas time.
Anybody has anything to say?
Say what you say.
Hey, guys, listen up.
Here we go.
Listen up.
Wait a minute.
Chicago Bears have had injuries just like any other team, but a lot of them have been on the offensive side of the ball. You look at Cruz, you look at Robinson, and also Ingram. But they had insult to injury. You look out there now, and they have Rex Tucker in for the injured Chris Valerio. And this is in a short yardage situation. This could impact this play in a big way.
3rd and 1 for the Bears for their own 29. Alan McCall, very, very close. I don't know if he got it. It'll depend on the spot. Nice play by Kelvin Pritchett in there to make the tackle.
And on that play, Luther Ellis was lined up against Rex Tucker and drove Rex Tucker, watch it right here, in this area right there. Look at Luther Ellis against Tucker. Knocks him into the backfield 2 yards. The ball just happened to go outside of Luther Ellis. The linebackers have to come in, Stephen Boyd, and fill that, but Stephen Boyd gets chipped by James Big Cat Williams. And a chip by James Big Cat Williams is like a blow. That's a big man.
That is a very, very big man. 6'7", 331. Bears did get the first down. Matthews to throw. Throws out there looking for Marty Booker. Nice coverage by Darnell Walker. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And in Detroit has numerous guys that they will play up in the front. I mean, it's not just Luther and James Jones. They also have Travis Kursky, Kelvin Pritchett. At the ends, they also use Jared DeVries a lot. So they have a lot of guys that they can shuffle in and out of there to keep them fresh throughout the ball game.
Bears at their own 31, 2nd and 10. Again, Allen the lone setback. 2 tight ends for Chicago. Dustin Lyman in motion. Little wide receiver screen out to Kennison. Kennison with some room over the 35 to the 37. Brought down by Stephen Boyd. Gain of 8 will be 3rd and 2.
And this is the play that when I looked at it on film, I said, you know, this is a play designed for a young quarterback. It's an easy completion. And you would see when McNown was in the lineup, they would run this play 4 and 5 times a ball game. You know, and you'd almost want to say, you know what, let's just get the ball down the field. But, you know, with the young quarterback and the inexperienced quarterbacks that Chicago's been playing a lot this year, that's an easy completion for them.
3rd and 3, 5 receiver set. Again, Matthews throws. Got it out there, and it's complete to Booker, and that'll be another Chicago first down. So the Bears very methodically and consistently moving the ball down the field, trailing by 7.
And I'll never forget when I was watching tape and I looked at Booker, I said, oh my gosh, that guy's a tight end. I mean, you look at him, he's got so much size for a wide receiver. I had a hard time. I was looking around all my lineups, and I was like, 86 tight end. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? I said, wait a minute, there's not a tight end that's 86. And I go to the wide receiver spot, and there he is. Big receiver. Big receiver.
Booker on the day, 5 catches, 43 yards. James Allen with the run over the left side. Picks up a couple. Tracy Scroggins and Stephen Boyd stop him there. Gain of 3. 2nd down, 7 coming up for Chicago as they again approach midfield.
And Stephen Boyd just as dependable as you would ever want a middle linebacker to be up in the middle. And last week, talk about a game last week for Stephen Boyd. A big-time game. Had an interception, forced a fumble last week that led to points for Detroit so that they could win the ball game. And big-time game by Stephen Boyd.
9th play of this drive, and it again goes to James Allen, and Darnell Walker's in on him, and down he goes. Walker with the initial hit, Boyd with the finish. Nice play.
And as we talk about Stephen Boyd, let's take a look at last week and what Stephen Boyd did. An excellent game. Here's the first play in which he ends up causing a fumble on Richie Anderson, and Scott Kolkowski recovers the ball. That led to the scoring drive. Now later on in the game, it wasn't a phenomenal physical play, but Stephen Boyd was just in position to get the interception off of Vinny Testaverde.
Stephen Boyd set for his 2nd trip to the Pro Bowl, leads the Lions in tackles. He'll sit this play out, 3rd and 10. Bears at their own 43. Matthews from the shotgun. Looking over the middle, throwing, and got Kennison there. Kennison taken down by Scott Polakowski, but good yardage, 19 yards and a first down.
And a real strong hit by Polakowski. Looks like he hurt himself on that play. Because the Eddie Kennison is the slot. He's in the middle, crossing the middle of the field, and Ron Rice can't get to him. But look at the hit that Polakowski delivers. I mean, he looks like he hurts himself. Right up into the head area of Eddie Kennison. It almost looks like on that play right there, which Polakowski looks like he fell out, but he's limping off the field, acting like a leg injury.
Another first down for Chicago. Again, Matthews to throw, rolling right, looking for something, can't find anything, and just throws it away. Lions leading 10-3. Let's see what else is happening. And for that, let's get a game break from James Brown. JB.
Stock market performance for Kurt Warner since his return. Fellows, take a look here as he throws this pick. This is his 8th pick since his return. This is his 4th game back. Darren Smith returns at 41 yards, all even in Nolan's at 7. Let's take it back to Dan Miller. Jeff Lagerman.
All right, JB, thank you. Very interesting. New Orleans fighting back with defense.
Hey, I've watched a lot of football teams this year, and I'm telling you, that New Orleans defense, I think, is one of the top 2 defenses in the league, bar none. They're exciting to watch.
And that is a tough place to play down in the Superdome. Matthews again, looking for Allen. Looked like they might have been thinking about a reverse to Kennison, but the Lions were all over that play, and down they go. That's going to result in a loss of 6, 3rd and 16 coming up. Kelvin Pritchett really came through and caused a disturbance.
I think this is a case of John Shoup trying to be too cute and having a trick play call. I mean, look at how much penetration Detroit gets in the backfield with Kelvin Pritchett right there trying to take the handoff that James Allen's trying to give to Eddie Kennison.
John Shoup calling the plays for the Bears, 31 years old, not the offensive coordinator, but calling the plays, and has come under some fire in Chicago. The Bears trailing it by a score of 10-3, facing a 3rd and 16. We'll see what they do with it when we come back. Back at the Silverdome after that last play, Stephen Boyd stayed down for a moment, but he was helped off the field. Looks fine. Looks like he'll be back in momentarily. 3rd down 16 now for the Bears, trailing by 7. Again, 5 receivers in the game. Matthews throws to his right. He's got it out there complete to Des White. White down around the 32. Won't be enough for a first down. Question is it close enough for a field goal?
Well, and they're bringing out Paul Enger to try for the field goal. An excellent job there by J.B. Brown of planting his feet and not giving up the first down. An excellent job. This is going to be a 50-yard field goal, which Edinger hasn't even had an attempt
Edinger's
this
longest
year.
on the year is 49.
Of 50 yards or more. That's surprising.
So Edinger will give it a go here. Sends the kick on its way. It is up, and it is good. So Edinger 2 out of 2 on the day, and that's a new career long for him. The Bears pull within 4. It's 10-6 at the Silverdome.
54-yard field goal. 5 seconds left. Their season all comes down to this. Here's the snap. The kick is up. It's got the distance. It's good. It's all over.
Philips Digital Recorder with TiVo, Pausers Live TV, and a lot more.
Scientists announced
Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic, when number 21 Tennessee meets number 11 Kansas State for the first time in the history of these two legendary programs. The 65th Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic is New Year's Day at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on Fox. Edinger, after his 50-yard field goal, set to kick off. Desmond Howard deep for the Lions, takes it at his 5. Howard out to the 20, the 25, the 30, dives ahead to the 35, and that's where the Lions will take over. A 29-yard return. And if you're just joining us, let us tell you that this is the game that a lot of people have their eyes on. Why? Well, if the Lions win, they're in the playoffs. But if they lose and St. Louis wins, then St. Louis would go to the playoffs.
Yeah, but this is all that matters, Dan, right there at the top.
Let me take it one more for the Green Bay fans. If Detroit and St. Louis lose, then Green Bay wins, they get to go. But you're right. Here at the Silverdome,
all that
they're
matters
only
to these
thinking about the
players right here.
Lions. 2 tight ends in the game for Detroit. Stewart's alone setback. Morton in motion now. Match to give to Stewart. Not much. Wrapped up by Mike Wells before he could get going. No gain. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Didn't get a yard. I mean, didn't even get a foot. No push up in the middle. You know, we talked to Gary Moeller, and he said, you know, the big matchup for us is going to be our inside 3 guys, Semple, Compton, and Hardings, against Flanagan and Wells. And right now, I'd say that Wells and Flanagan are getting the job done. You know, and when you talk about Flanagan and Wells, you can't help but mention the guy that's playing behind them. Rookie Brian Urlacher. That guy is an absolute joy to watch.
Brian Urlacher, who got a Terry Award during the pregame show, as an outstanding superstar defensive player of the future. Batch throwing here, looking down the left side for Crowell. Overthrows him. Lions looking for a flag. They're not going to get it. Thomas Smith on the coverage. Kind of interesting, too, in picking up that Terry Award. He seemed very happy about it, but he did mention that Brian Urlacher's wife, Terry Bradshaw, bugs him a little bit, she said.
Oh, poor Terry. I mean, you look at the record. I mean, single-season leaders, he's right up there for the Bears. But, you know, the impressive thing to me is the speed in which he plays the game at. I have not seen a linebacker in my time at the National Football League level that runs with the speed and the athletic ability that Brian Urlacher does.
3rd and 10 for the Lions. Great catch by Johnny Morton across the 50, down around the 46-yard line. 19 yards and a 1st down for Detroit. Nice pass and catch play right there, and a big play for Detroit.
And that was excellent coverage, man coverage by R.W. McQuarters. But look at the throw and the catch by Johnny Morton. Wow.
Morton, the Lions' leading receiver so far this year. They have had problems in the passing game. Morton, 3 catches today for 40 yards. Lions leading by 4. 1st and 10 at the Chicago 46. And a 3-receiver set for Detroit. And again, Batch to throw. Pump fakes, now looks right for Morton again. There's a collision down there as Morton ran into Mike Brown. Officials right there, and there's no flag. That'll bring up 2nd down.
And a lot of people here at the Silverdome are saying, you know, that should have been a flag. But look where the ball is. It's 8 yards out of bounds. So, I mean, even if he hadn't gotten interfered with by Mike Brown, that was an uncatchable ball. A good no call by the official.
Johnny Morton in his 7th year out of USC. The Lions now with 2nd and 10. Morton, Crowell, and Moore all wide to the right. Now Crowell comes left. Match again to throw. Looking for Crowell off his fingertips, but a nice defensive play by Sean Harris to come in there and almost break that up. Might have gotten in Crowell's line of sight.
They might have gotten in his line of sight, but, Joe, when you talk about a must-win game, the big plays have to be made. Herman Moore had a drop earlier, and Jermaine Crowell has a drop right here. You can't have drops, physical errors, easy physical errors in a big game like this. And this is a big game. It's not a big opponent. It's not a dominant opponent in the Chicago Bears, but it's a big-time situation.
Ray Roberts being helped off the field. Barrett Brooks, number 76, will come in to replace him. And Roberts has had a number of injuries this year, and he's really fought it all season long.
Well, and Ray, I actually played college football with Ray, and Ray was telling me that he had an ACL reconstruction in that right knee in January and used the patellar tendon graft from his other leg, and he's been battling weakness in his knee and in his quadricep areas all year long. And so now Barrett Brooks is in the lineup, who they really wanted to keep Ray in the lineup because he was just more consistent than Barrett Brooks has been.
Mario Bates in at running back now for the Lions on 3rd and 10. Again, 3 receivers and Batch from the shotgun. Batch throws out to his left, looking again for Crowell, but it's overthrown. The Lions will have to kick it away, and they hear about it from their fans here at the Dome.
Well, and, you know, and from talking to some people around here, and you, Dan, you're here in Detroit quite a bit. Charlie Batch hasn't been a fan favorite this year, but I tell you what, there should be another 7 points on the board from the Herman Moore drop, and Jermaine Crowell should have made that catch, and the chain should still be moving right now.
Charlie Batch just 1 for his last 7 attempts. Glenn Milburn again deep for the Bears. John Jett to punt it away. Line of scrimmage, the 46. Jett with a high punt. Milburn will let it bounce down around the 1. Takes a good line bounce, and they'll down it around the 6. There is a flag on the play, so we'll have to wait to see what the call is. But John Jett was the benefactor of a great bounce on that punt.
And Kolkowski is signaling that it's going to be holding on the Bears,
which would back them up even further.
What a bounce that John Jett got right there. I thought for sure that was just going to roll right into the end zone.
Holding. Number 23, the receiving team. During the kick, this will be half the distance to the goal. First down for Chicago.
And that's on Jerry Azuma against Darnell Walker. Grabs a hold of a lot of cloth, and anytime a guy that's blocking pulls down or looks like he's pulling down a guy who's in coverage, they're going to throw that flag every time.
So the Bears are really backed up now at their own 3-yard line, trailing 10-6.
And Luther Ellis knows what it's all about when you get the opponent backed up in the end zone. The fans can have an impact on the communication ability of your opposing team, and Luther's getting them going.
These fans looking for an early Christmas gift wrapped in a package, which would include a playoff berth if they can get the victory today. James Allen tries the right side, and James Allen doesn't get much. Give him one, it'll be 2nd and 9.
And this is getting to be kind of a chippy game. It really is. I mean, between these two teams, you had the personal foul earlier on Jimmy Herndon, and now in this case, this could have been very easily been a flag against Brooks. Very easily.
It'll bring up 2nd and 9. Bears have to be careful down here. As you said, it's got to be very difficult to hear the snap count, in particular at this end of the stadium, where the fans are very, very loud.
You know, and any time as a player you're playing in a dome situation, even if the stands aren't full, even if they're half full, the noise can be deafening. There's nowhere for the noise to go.
We have reached the 2-minute warning here at the Silverdome. Bears backed up, trailing in this by a score of 10-6. We'll take a break. Bears on 2nd and 9, throw out to Des White. Another flag, as you said. White with about 7 yards on the play, but it's getting a little chippy in there, and these referees, I don't think, want to let it get away from them, Jeff.
And they're doing a good job of trying to keep everything under control, and the flag comes out again right there. And it looks like it's going to be against Chicago again.
There is no infraction.
See what Tom White has to say about this.
There is no infraction on the play. Timeout was called by Detroit. That's their first charge timeout. This is a 30-second timeout. There is no infraction on the play.
Lions will take a timeout. They're trying to see if they can get the football back before the half runs out. Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and it becomes very apparent that both Terry and Howie, the fans of that young man, Bears rookie Brian Urlacher.
Well, the Terry award and the Howie's tough guy award. And it's had an interesting conversation with Brian, and he actually called me sir, and I wanted to correct him, but I didn't. But, you know, we asked him, what was the biggest change about coming up to the pro level? And he says, there's no class to go to. I mean, that was the only thing that came to his mind was, I don't have to go to class. Now it's just football, football, football.
And he has done a great job playing football. As we said, he set a rookie record for tackles for the Bears so far in their long and storied franchise history.
And he's leading them in sacks.
3rd and 2 now. 4 receivers in the game for the Bears. Matthews from the shotgun. Pressure comes. Matthews throws it out, and had to be a miscommunication there because there was nobody anywhere near that football. That'll bring up a 4th down, and the Lions call timeout to get the call back, and now they will. Desmond Howard goes deep.
And watch what happens with Matthews as he follows through. His hand comes through, and it's actually hit against the arm of James Hall, the free agent rookie. And look at James' reaction. Grabs right a hold of that hand there. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts him in the second half.
Louis Aguiar to punt from his own end zone, gets it away. Line drive, Howard takes it at his 49. Howard dragged down from behind. Nice defensive play in there by Mike Brown. This January, Fox presents Grounded for Life, a new comedy about parenthood and other mind-altering experiences. Don't miss the Grounded for Life series premiere Wednesday, January 10th at 8:30, 7:30 Central, right here on Fox. 1:39 to go in the first half. Lions with the football at the Bears 41. Charlie Batch and company will take over there. Lions, as we said, Charlie Batch has struggled a bit after a fast start. Just 1 out of his last 7.
And great field position for the Detroit Lions. They have 1:39 left on the clock. 2 timeouts. Plenty of time to put it in the end zone.
And again, 3 receivers in for Detroit. Batch up under center. 3-step drop, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Nice play. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
And that was Brian Urlacher with the deflection on the blitz coming up into the line of scrimmage.
The name of Urlacher's game, as you mentioned him blitzing, is speed. He can get from one side of the field to the other, and he can close very quickly.
Speed, and a lot of people, that I thought it interesting. People are saying, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Urlacher? It rhymes with linebacker. Urlacher.
Urlacher and linebacker will be synonymous for a long time in Chicago. And there he goes, just drilling Charlie Batch on the blitz. They brought him twice in a row, and Batch is slow to get up.
Talking to Jim Flanagan, he said, this year hasn't been a lot of fun, but it's been exciting playing with Brian Urlacher. And he's actually in a 3-point stance and runs a 3-man game and buries Batch into the turf.
And Batch goes down hard on that right side, and that's where those 2 broken ribs are. Watches all of his body weight goes right down on his right side.
Detroit.
And we talked about that being a target for Chicago, and you could see it there, Jeff.
Charge timeout by rule.
And in this situation right here, this is actually a 3-man game in which it has to be passed off. It's a zone responsibility blocking-wise for the offensive lineman.
Stoney Case getting set. He is the backup quarterback for Detroit. Batch still down on the field. I want to show you here why.
I'm going to show you what happens here. This is 3 guys coming. Brian Robinson comes into this gap, and the defensive tackle goes into the gap, and when he comes up underneath, Mike Compton has to come off of 76 Brad Culpepper. It has to be a pass. It just gets passed all the way down the line, and when it's a 3-man game like that, it's tough to pass it all the way down the line, but Mike Compton has to get it done. And it's kind of interesting. Last week, Stocker McDougal had an incorrect call, and Charlie Batch took a bad shot, blindside shot, and it was his responsibility, Stocker McDougal's responsibility, and Mike Compton jumped all over him. Well, in this particular play, Compton has to come off of Brad Culpepper. That's one guy you do not want to turn loose on your quarterback, is Brian Urlacher.
Charlie Batch making his way off the field. You have talked about playing with a rib injury. It makes it tough to run, tough to breathe, tough to throw, tough to do anything. And you can see there Charlie's career has been hurt by injuries. Missed 2 games in '98, 5 in '99, 1 this year, and he's headed to the bench now.
And he's in a lot of pain. And again, we talked to him earlier before the game, and he said, they cannot find a cortisone or anything to inject into that area to stop the pain. It's something that I have to deal with, and hopefully I can take something that will just take the edge off.
Stoney Case comes in, 6th-year veteran out of New Mexico, and he's greeted with a 3rd and 16. Case back in trouble, and down he goes. Nice pursuit by Brian Robinson, who comes up with a sack, and the Lions are going to have to give it back. Charlie Batch, as we said throughout his career, has had problems, and this season he has had problems as well. This play caused a concussion against the Miami Dolphins when Batch went down hard, banging the back of his head. He stayed down on the turf for a while. Then week 13 against New England, this is where the rib injury occurred. Charlie Batch, 2 broken ribs on this play, and he was also hit hard by Lawyer Malloy in that game as well. Charlie Batch has had a number of injuries this year. We'll have to wait and see, get a halftime report, Jeff, as to just how he's doing.
And it's something that hopefully can go away. But, you look now at Detroit, this is a must-win game, and now they're going to have to go into the second half of this must-win game without possibly their starting quarterback, Charlie Batch, also without their starting right tackle in Ray Roberts, and Barrett Brooks, who is in for the injured Ray Roberts, just gave up the sack on Stoney Case.
John Jett set to punt it away for Detroit on 4th and 25. 1:27 to go. Glenn Milburn deep for Chicago. gets it away. Milburn calls for the fair catch, then lets it bounce, and it will down around the 15. It's taking a good bounce for Detroit down around the 10 to the 9. So that's where Chicago will take over. Charlie Batch is headed to the locker room. We'll get you a report on his condition just as soon as possible. 47-yard punt by John Jett. Good enough to back the Bears up.
And the way he's holding that right arm up around the midsection, I wonder if it is the ribs or if it isn't another injury to another part of his body.
Well, as the Bears take over on the other end of the field, Jeff, here's the question. Do they have the confidence in Shane Matthews to allow him to throw the football?
Well, it's a minute
actually,
left.
it's not going to be Shane Matthews. It's going to be Cade McNown who has come in. Cade McNown takes over at quarterback. We saw just a couple of minutes ago Shane Matthews throwing the football, hitting his hand against James Hall of the Lions. So now Cade McNown, second-year player out of UCLA, takes over for the Bears. And on his first play, he'll hand off to James Allen. He's met by Terry Fair just across the line of scrimmage. He'll pick up a couple.
And that play call right there by John Shoup tells you exactly how much confidence they have in Cade McNown. They had over a minute left in play clock, and they had one timeout left, but they just handed the ball off. You know, you're talking to the players, to the coaches. Nobody's a big fan of Cade McNown, whether it be performance-wise, whether it be in the locker room, anything. They said, every player that I've talked to said he's immature, he has a lot of growing up to do, and he has to earn the respect of the players in the locker room as well on the field.
So with 25 seconds to go in the half, McNown will take the snap and just go to a knee. So within the past couple of minutes, both starting quarterbacks in this game have gone out due to injury. Shane Matthews and Charlie Batch both down. Backups have come in for both. We now are getting word from the field that Charlie Batch has re-injured his ribs. We saw him going to the locker room just a moment ago. We'll have to wait and see whether or not Charlie Batch is able to come back for the second half. And the same with Shane Matthews and the Bears. Chicago down 10-6 at halftime. We'll be back in a moment. Silverdome, Lions leading the Bears by a score of 10-6. Moments ago, the third member of our crew, Dan Jiggett, spoke with Lions head coach Gary Moeller.
Coach, this is obviously another Lions-Bears game, a knockdown, drag-out. How was your quarterback, Charlie Batch?
Well, I don't think he's very good right now. I'll check him at halftime, but I don't think he's very good. I think Stoney Case will probably play the second half, would be my guess.
It seems like, you guys just can't put this one away. Every time you try to go in there and put it away, the Bears do something to take advantage.
Yeah, they're doing a good job getting after our quarterback. We haven't been doing that, and then we had a couple open guys that we didn't hit. We dropped the pass, but altogether, we got to just do a better job blocking, and we got to get some running game going as well.
Coach, thank you.
All right, Dan.
Starting quarterback for both teams now an issue. Shane Matthews left the game. Charlie Batch left the game. Will return to Detroit for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station. Welcome back to the Silverdome. Lions leading Chicago by a score of 10-6. Dan Miller and Jeff Lagerman with you in the holiday spirit.
Absolutely, it is Christmas Eve.
Might have a situation now where the Lions will have to pull something out from under their hat. You said this would be a tough game, and it's turning out to be just that.
Well, it can be very tense when you're in a must-win situation, but now all of a sudden you've got a quarterback, your starting quarterback, who's hurt and might not return in the second half, and looks like he's not going to return. Brian Urlacher delivered a tremendous blow to Charlie Batch and just buries him into the turf. Urlacher's a fantastic player, but fantastic player or not, he has probably done the biggest injury that you could have against the Detroit Lions, and that's taken Charlie Batch out of the lineup. Now we're going to see Stoney Case in the second half.
Stoney Case figures to get the start. Let's keep in mind as well that the Bears lost their starting quarterback. Shane Matthews will have to see what his condition is. Cade McNown finished the first half for Chicago. And there is a look at Stoney Case, who will get the football first as the Lions will receive. Stoney Case started the opening game of the season down in New Orleans, which was a Lions victory, but it was a victory in which the team did not score an offensive touchdown. They won the game on a Desmond Howard return. Might history repeat itself there as well? Well, we'll see. Desmond's back to receive the kickoff right now. Chicago Bears are hungry and ready to ruin the Lions' playoff plans. We'll have a second half of football right here to see whether or not that happens. Howard with it out over the 30 into the pile at the 31, and that's where the Lions will start with Stoney Case at quarterback.
And we talked earlier in the show about Charlie's ribs and the problems that he's been having. They've only been scoring 13 points a game over the last 3 games, and said in the open about the importance of James Stewart being the workhorse. Well, now, is it ever true with Charlie Batch out of the lineup? They're going to count on James Stewart to be the workhorse here in the second half, and they're going to need some turnovers by their defense and maybe a big play by Desmond Howard.
Lions also lost 72. Ray Roberts, their starting right tackle. Barrett Brooks in again for him. So the Lions with some injury problems as we begin the second half. Case gives to Stewart. Stewart is slowed down right away. Nice play in there by Mike Wells. Stewart picks up maybe a yard. Looks like that'll be probably 2nd and 10.
And the real key to why this play went absolutely nowhere was right here in the middle. Mike Wells against Semple. Look at the job that Mike Wells does against Tony Semple. Pushes him into the backfield, comes off, and makes the play. That's the area that Gary Moeller said was where we needed to win, was in the inside with our center and our 2 guards, and so far today, they're not winning that battle.
There you see Stoney Case's numbers. In for the injured Charlie Batch. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage. 2 receivers in. The pitch to Stewart. Stewart goes right, finds a little bit of room. Now cuts back. It gets out over the 35 to the 36. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
And they're trying to get James Stewart to be the guy, but that's not the kind of play that I'd want to see James Stewart running. I don't want to see James Stewart running lateral on a pitch to get outside if I'm the offensive coordinator. I want to see James Stewart north and south. You know, what happened till last week, they ran the 2 tight end sets in the power zone where James got the ball 5 yards deep and he could pick and choose his hole. That's what I'd want to see giving the ball to James Stewart, how the style, that's where he runs best.
5 defensive backs in the game for the Bears. Stoney Case, quarterback draw. Case over the 40 to the 45 before he's run out of bounds. 1st down Lions. That's what Stoney Case brings to this football team. He is elusive and he can run with the football. And for the Bears defense, that's a bit of an adjustment, Jeff.
Well, he better be elusive because you know what? Who do you go to next? You know, if he's going to run the ball like that down the field, 1 shot, and he could be out of the game.
Corey Sauter would be the Lions' 3rd quarterback. But they hope to finish the game with Stoney Case. The Bears may have other ideas. In particular, Brian Urlacher, who already sent Batch to the sidelines. 1st and 10 for their own 45. Case to give to Stewart. Met behind the line of scrimmage by Roosevelt Coleman. Great defensive play. No gain. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I want you to take a look at Roosevelt Coleman. This is him right here in the shot. Look at the job that he does. He's patient. He doesn't flow to the front side too fast because he knows that James Stewart on this power zone likes to cut it back.
Stewart and Schlesinger again, the setbacks. Coleman, 6'3", 254 out of Purdue. 2nd and 10 for Detroit. Coleman showing blitz. Here they come, too, and down he goes. Sean Harris with the pressure, and they got to Stoney Case. As elusive as he might be, there was no chance to get away that time.
And this was actually a zone blitz in which they send Harris and also Urlacher right up the middle, and they drop the end, Van Tune, and all they do is they just cross up in the middle. Look at the pressure that they get on Stoney Case. Stoney Case, now in the zone blitz concept, they're not sending more guys. They're only sending 5. In a usual blitz, it's 6. So the Detroit Lions offensive linemen just have to do a good job of communicating and picking them up.
5 defensive backs, loss of 11 on the play, 3rd and 21. Case from the shotgun. Short pass to Mario Bates. Got blockers in front. Bates out, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up 4th down. Pick up 12 on the play. Mike Brown in on the tackle.
And Mario Bates has been a nice pickup for the Detroit Lions. He's been good to spell James Stewart. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry. He's also used as a 3rd down back. He's been a nice addition to the Detroit Lions.
John Jett into punt, Glenn Milburn deep. 4th and 9. Lions would have loved to have established a little bit more on offense on their first possession. The Bears with life. Jett gets the punt away. Milburn backed up inside his own 5. Fielded it for 3. He'll come the other way. And a nice tackle in there by Clint Freewald at the 11. And they'll Might be a question about that when Milburn gets back to the bench. No question about this. We got a good ball game. Lions leading at 10-6.
I love the way you've decorated in here.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by DirecTV, the #1 digital satellite entertainment provider.
Dan Miller, Jeff Lagerman back at the Silverdome, and Charlie Batch back on the Lions bench, warming up.
Yeah, and the problem with his injury is they've tried many times already to use a local number, the needle, to kill the pain of the ribs. Haven't been able to do it, so I don't think they were able to do it at halftime.
Meantime, Cade McNown is the quarterback for the Bears. He gives to James Allen. Allen out over the 30 to the 33. There is a flag down. Looked like the Lions might have jumped. 22 yards on the play. So both teams have lost their starting quarterback, at least for the moment. Shane Matthews has a broken thumb and will not return. Let's see what the call is here from Tom White.
It's offsides on the Detroit Lions defense, and it's just going to be declined.
Offsides. Number 91 defense jumped in the neutral zone. The penalty is declined. Take the result of the play. First down.
You know, I actually like the way you did that better. You may have a future here.
You go back and you look at the Shane Matthews where he hurt his thumb right there. When he throws that ball, it actually comes down into the arm of James Hall. And now, all of a sudden, now it's a situation in which the players weren't real excited about. Cade McNown at quarterback.
There were rumors of a player revolt, rumors that were denied by the Bears, but it became clear that the team was certainly behind Shane Matthews getting the start. I think the bottom line, James Allen picks up one there and brings up a 2nd down and 9, is that the players in Chicago, Jeff, don't feel like Cade McNown has earned the job yet.
Well, and that's definitely the case. I've been on a team in which a quarterback was pretty much giving the starting role, and that does more harm, I think, than good. I think the player has to prove to the rest of the team that he deserves that starting position, especially a quarterback. He is your captain and your coach on the field.
He's got a chance to leave them with something to think about if he can come up with a positive performance here. On 2nd down, he's run out of bounds and dragged down by Chris Claiborne. That'll bring up 3rd down as he picks up 4, 3rd and 5 on the way.
Now, it was amazing when we turned on last week's game against the 49ers and we wanted to take a look at whether or not Cade McNown was really bad. And, you know, there were a half a dozen drop balls that Cade McNown had thrown. A half a dozen. Now, he only was, for that day, didn't have a great day. He was only 9 of 29. But, you know, if all of a sudden you put in those drops, all of a sudden now he's almost 50% or a little bit over 50%. And there was numerous missed blocks and missed assignments. People didn't play well around him.
3rd and 5, McNown from the shotgun looking for Booker, broken up by Lamar Campbell. It'll bring up 4th down. If you're just joining us, this is a huge game for the Lions. Win, and they're in the playoffs. They'll need more plays like this.
And as you can see, he's trying to force it up in there to 86 from Marty Booker. And that's one thing from talking to the players. And Dick Durant, he says that Cade does not see the whole field. He has a tendency to wear blinders and focuses in on one area. And a lot of that has to do with experience. A lot of that has to do with immaturity and lack of preparation.
Louis Aguiar with the punt. Desmond Howard calls a fair catch and makes it down around the 29-yard line. 33-yard punt. Cade McNown in the game for Chicago. Lions will take over the football. Backup quarterback Stoney Case on his way back out. Lions need this if they want to get to the playoffs. We'll be right back. Well, back at the Silverdome, this is the game that a lot of people have their eyes on. If the Lions win, they clinch a playoff berth. However, if the Lions were to lose this, St. Louis was to win down in New Orleans, then St. Louis would go to the playoffs. If Detroit and St. Louis both lose, Green Bay would go if they beat Tampa Bay this afternoon. So there's a lot riding on this football game, and a lot riding on Stoney Case's performance right now as he's taking over for Charlie Batch. Case with a pass out to Crowell at the 35, complete and out of bounds. Pickup of 6, it'll bring up 2nd and 4. Jerry Azuma on the coverage.
And that's not the score of our game. That's the score of the St. Louis-New Orleans game. St. Louis up by 6. And then in the other matchup that All the players are watching our game as the Tampa Green Bay, and Green Bay's up by a touchdown in some cold weather.
Imagine in Wisconsin and down in Louisiana, there's a lot of scoreboard watching going on. They want to know what's happening at the Silverdome. We've got it for you right here. Lions leading 10-6. Case to Morton. Morton dives for the first down marker. Looks like he's got it up around the 40-yard line. Again, Jerry Azuma on coverage, and he made the stop. Pick up a 5. It will bring up a 1st and 10.
And watch the job that Morton does. It's just a quick hitch where he just takes one step, turns back around, and gets the ball from the quarterback. But he does a real nice job of stretching the ball out to get the first down.
Lions told us yesterday they thought Azuma was the weaker of the two corners, and they've gone after him a couple of times today, including the last 2 plays. 1st and 10 from their own 40. Case, play action, looks, throws over the middle, had Morton just through his hands inside the 40-yard line at the Chicago 39. And again, that might have been a football that the Lions should have caught.
That's another, I mean, it's a tough catch, but it's a catchable ball. And if you look at Johnny Morton, he runs just basically a slant into the formation pattern. And it's a tough catch, but you know, in a big-time must-win game, you have to make big-time catches.
Johnny Morton has made those catches for the Lions this year, leads the team in receptions.
And that's been spread around now. I mean, Herman Moore, Jermaine Crowell, now Johnny Morton all have drops.
2nd down and 10, 3 receivers set for the Lions. Case again, play action. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Van Tuene provided the pressure, knocking the pass down. He was looking for David Sloan just across the line of scrimmage to his left. It'll bring up 3rd and 10.
And Gary Moeller said going into halftime, he talked about the defensive line of the Chicago Bears playing very well, putting pressure on the quarterback. And they've been doing it here with the last 2 series without Jim Flanagan. Flanagan's got a calf injury and is out off to the sideline. But Mike Wells and Van Tuene and Brian Robinson, they're having a good day.
Bears with their nickel defense, 5 defensive backs in the game. Showing blitz, and here they come. Case with time. Throws to Moore right around midfield. It will be close to a 1st down. It will depend on the spot.
It's going to depend on which official gets the ball first.
Nice hit in there by Tony Parrish to stop Moore right away, but it is a 1st down for the Lions at midfield.
The official on the near sideline had his foot over the line, marking the spot. This is Herman Moore right here. And then the official on the other side of the formation had it marked before the 50. So I think it was just a case of which official got there first and put his foot down and got the ball.
If you look where Moore had that football, it looks like the Lions may have gotten the benefit of a good spot right there.
Absolutely.
1st and 10 at midfield. The give to Stewart. Cuts back the opposite way. Barrels ahead down inside the 45 to the 43. Pick up a 7. 2nd and 3 coming up. Let's swing it back to L.A. right now. JB, what's happened between the Rams and Saints?
Well, you guys have backup quarterbacks in action there. St. Louis will, as well as Kurt Warner leaves with a concussion. His return questionable. Trent Green is in 13-7. St. Louis on top of the Saints. Back to Dan and Jeff.
Thank you, JB. Week 17 in the National Football League, and starting quarterbacks have found their way to the bench because of injuries. They're starting quarterbacks on the bench in big, critical games, Jeff.
Yeah, but I don't think there's as much drop-off from Kurt Warner to Trent Green as a lot of people would have in other situations like this game.
Pace going deep to Jermaine Crowell down the right side, broken up by Jerry Azuma. So again, the Lions are going after that right corner of the Bears.
And this is just a go route to Jermaine Crowell against Azuma. And this is the guy that they felt that they could have some success at, and that's Jerry Azuma. And we talked to Dick Duran about Jerry Azuma, and he said, you know, this guy just needs experience, and we think he can be a good player because he has the speed and the quickness to make plays. You know, when going back to the quarterback thing, Trent Green might start for both of these football teams. That'd be a starter. He would probably come into either one of these camps and start.
And there's certainly talk that at the end of this year, he will be dealt by St. Louis somewhere to a team that needs a quarterback. Jerry Azuma's shaken up on the play. Lions were going for a big gain right there, Jeff. They haven't had a gain of 20-plus yards in this football game.
Well, they should have. They should have. The Herman Moore drop early in the ball game was critical. You know, in a game in which very high pressure like this one is for the Detroit Lions, the closer this game is, the tougher it is for Chicago, for Detroit to win.
Well, Chicago is hanging in there. Detroit leading 10-6. We'll take a break.
without you.
$1 billion. That's how much Oracle saved in 1 year using its own e-business software. How much will you save? Oracle. Software powers the internet.
Their parents all have great jobs, same cars, same vacations. So why will some families be paying for college while the rest are praying for scholarships? Northwestern Mutual Financial Network.
Silverdome, Lions leading Chicago 10-6 in a huge game for Detroit. Charlie Batch out, re-injured his ribs. He has been throwing on the sidelines. We'll have to wait and see whether or not he is still available in this football game. 3rd and 3 now for Detroit. 4 receivers in the game. Stoney Case throws, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 4th and 3.
And another nice play by the Chicago defensive line. Brian Robinson blocks that one. You know, we talked at the opening of the show about James Stewart needing to have a workhorse-like effort, and he just hasn't had that opportunity so far. Detroit is having to throw the ball in some situations they don't want to. And look at the job that he does of getting his hands up in the air.
Now they'll have to give it back to Chicago, and the longer the Bears can hang around, the more dangerous they are to the Lions. And that's good news for the Rams, possibly good news for the Packers. Jet with the kick. Milburn lets this one bounce at around the 7, bounces backwards. The Lions are down at about the 10-yard line. That's where Chicago will take over, trailing by 4. We'll take a break at the Silverdome.
And in no other years.
Back at the Silverdome, Lutherella's trying to get the crowd fired up here. They're thinking playoffs in Detroit, but they're also thinking about winning this game, which is becoming a lot tougher than some folks thought it might be. Bears backed up at their own 10. Last 5 possessions, best starting position has been the 12. They've been bottled up most of the day. James Allen goes down, keeps his balance, keeps going out to the 20. Caught himself with one hand on the ground. Pickup of 11 there to bring up a 1st down and 10 for Chicago. So that gets them out of some tough territory.
Well, and Detroit is going to have to find a way to get some turnovers. It's one thing that they have done throughout the year. The last time they played Chicago, they got 5 turnovers, and they only won by a touchdown. So they're going to have to give their offense as many opportunities as they can, and maybe even score on defense.
McNown with the give again to Allen, and again he finds a little room over the right side, gets out to about the 27. Detroit leading Chicago 10-6 here. Let's swing it back to L.A. and James Brown. JB, what's going on?
Well, Dan, what's happening in Green Bay? Amon Green, who you know was picked up in that trade initiated by Ron Wolf with Seattle. 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. Amon Green, their leading rusher and receiver. It's 14-0. Green Bay over Tampa Bay. Back to Dan and Jeff.
All right, JB, keep in mind for the Packers to get to the playoffs, they need both Detroit and St. Louis to lose. 4 receivers in the game for Chicago, 2nd down and 3 from their own 27. McNown back and throwing, got Booker out to the right side. Booker over the 35 to the 36. It'll be another 1st down for the Bears.
And Dick Duran helping up Marty Booker. You know, the longer this game goes on with this margin, 4 points, the more in favor of the Bears it is. Because, you know, it's a must-win game. The pressure's big going in. But can you imagine the pressure that the Detroit Lions are feeling the longer this game goes on and the closer it stays?
Marlon Barnes in at running back now for Chicago on 1st and 10 for their own 36. McDowell with 3 receivers. Changing the play at the line. McDowell gives to Barnes. Big hole. Barnes over the 40 to the 50 and finally taken down in Lions territory by Ron Rice. 21 yards on the play.
And the fans are not happy. In the area, the run happens right in the area which they're supposed to be strongest, where Stephen Boyd and Luther Ellis are at. And Chicago is getting some big gains in the running game.
Well, Marlon Barnes had a career-high 23 yards against Indianapolis back on November the 5th. On that run alone, he had 21. Allen back in the game now. Scott Dragos in at fullback. McNown gives to Allen. Allen finds some room up the middle, and Chicago is starting to turn out some yards, Jeff.
I mean, this is getting bad for Detroit. You had a 20-something yard gain, you had a 11-yard gain the first play of the drive, and now Allen for another 7 yards. I mean, Detroit has to do something to adjust to stop Chicago's running game.
to a man. The Bears told us yesterday when we talked to them, this game meant a lot to them. They wanted to close the season on a positive note. The Lions, on the other hand, want to close the season by going to the playoffs, but they need to win today. Barnes back in the game. He's the setback behind McNown. And again, he gets the call. And again, he finds some room. Barnes inside the 30 to the 28.
They are just out-muscling Detroit right now up in the front. In the air, watch Stephen Boyd. Stephen Boyd, he's the guy that you've got to make sure that he comes in and makes plays, but he gets blocked. I mean, they're pounding Detroit right now.
Bears with 53 rushing yards on this drive. 2 tight ends in the game right now for Chicago. Booker to the left. Bates to the right. Out on the lone setback. He gets the call. Not much there. Wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Nice tackle by Alan Aldridge. It'll bring up 2nd down, 10.
And Alan Aldridge is the outside linebacker, and you know he's almost somewhat of a tweener between a linebacker and a defensive end. He's got that kind of size. He's the kind of linebacker you'd like to have against a big tight end because he matches up pretty well because he's a big, strong guy. I tell you, the last play in which he was matched up against the tight end Kasim Cincino, they were knocked off of the ball, and Alan Aldridge was one of them.
2nd and 10 for the Bears. They've yet to find the end zone today. 2 Paul Edinger field goals. McNown looking for the end zone, looking for Booker. Got it. Touchdown, Bears.
And the flags on the play are going to be interference against Darnell Walker. The touchdown will stand.
And if you listen closely, you can hear the silence at the Silverdome. What a big play for the Bears as they take the lead in an all-important game.
Pass interference. Number 41, defense. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
We were talking to Stephen Boyd yesterday and asked him which quarterback he would rather face, and he said, you know, I'd rather have McNown, but you know what, I probably shouldn't say that because I might end up having to eat my words. Well, Cade McNown is in, and he just threw a touchdown pass to give Chicago a 2, soon-to-be 3-point lead.
27-yard connection to Booker. That'll bring us to the extra point. Edinger on 2 for 2 in field goals today, 1 for 1 in extra points, and suddenly Chicago has the lead, and they're smiling in St. Louis. More on that when we come back.
The season to be jolly.
We've got a great game in the Silverdome. Chicago leading Detroit 13-10, but stick around because coming up next, it's the second part of our Fox NFL doubleheader. The Vikings will look to wrap up the NFC Central against the Colts team fighting for a wild card berth. It's coming up next on Fox. Check this out. Ravens leading the Jets 20-17. Colts very interested in that. If that holds and the Colts win, they head for the playoffs. Very, very interesting day. Edinger the kick. It goes out of bounds, and the Lions will have the ball up at their own 40, so good field position to start the drive. Jeff, very interesting. The Bears with the lead right now, 13-10. It is the first time that they have had the lead in a road game since October 1st.
The ball will belong to the receiving team at their 40-yard line.
Well, that's a sign that they haven't been playing good football at all. And, you know, what a mistake there by the kicker, Edinger. I mean, that's a big mistake. I mean, to give the opposing team after you just had a momentum touchdown with the touchdown catch to Marty Booker, and then all of a sudden you go out and kick the ball out of bounds and you give the opposing team great field position at the 40. That's a rookie mistake. 6th-round draft pick out of Michigan State. He hit that 50-yarder earlier, but that hurts.
You see the scenario right there. It's clean. If the Lions win, they go to the playoffs. But if they're going to win, they're going to have to come from behind with backup quarterback Stoney Case in the game. Gives to James Stewart right there. Stewart picks up 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
And James Stewart, you know, we said at the beginning that James Stewart has to be the workhorse, and he has not been so far in this game. If you take a look at the statistics, comparing the rushing games of both teams in today's game, look at the advantage in Chicago's favor, 104 to Detroit's 40. Not the kind of effectiveness in a running game that Detroit was expecting.
Stewart, 12 carries, 32 yards. Case to pass out to the right side to Herman Moore. Looks like they'll be about a yard short of the first down at the 49. Pick up a 5 on the play. Jerry Azuma with the tackle.
And James Stewart, personally, he's got 12 rushes for 32 yards. And that's not even close to what his average is for the year. You know, and it all starts up front. The Detroit offensive line are getting handled by the Chicago defensive line, not only in the rushing game, but also in the pass game as well.
Two tight ends in for the Lions, two setbacks for Detroit as well. Corey Schlesinger, the up back, Stewart, the deep back, 3rd and 1. Stewart gets the call, moves ahead, gets the first down into Bears territory at about the 48, pick up a 3. Mike Wells finally got him down.
And Mike Wells, so far, I think, is the Bears' defensive player of the game. He is getting the job done. He's winning that matchup in which Gary Moeller said was important for them to win.
We are coming down to the end of the 3rd quarter with the Lions trailing 13-10. Fox NFL Sunday from Detroit. We'll continue after a word from your local Fox station. Leading the Lions by a score of 13-10. 15 minutes to go in this game. The Lions hope that there's not just 15 minutes left in their season. The Bears know they're done after this game. They're looking to knock the Lions out of the playoffs. Get you more on what the situation is elsewhere right after this. 1st and 10 for the Lions. Stoney Case in at quarterback, looking left for Johnny Morton and overthrows him. Just to remind you of what exactly is happening here. If the Lions win, they're in the playoffs. If the Lions lose and St. Louis wins, which they're beating New Orleans right now, the Rams would go to the playoffs. If both St. Louis and Detroit were to lose and Green Bay were to beat Tampa Bay, then the Packers would go. So the Packers right now need a lot of help. But right now, if this were to end, the Rams would be looking good. And right now, the Lions are looking to back up quarterback Stoney Case for some help. Case gets it out to David Sloan. Sloan inside the 45, down to the 43. It will be 3rd down for the Lions. Meanwhile, big happenings down in New Orleans. JB, what's happening with the Rams?
Dan, you just talked about it. Here's the visual embellishment. Take a look at Marshall Faulk. He takes this one. Great blocking ahead, tying Emmitt Smith with 25 touchdowns. NFL single season mark. Marshall Faulk, late season MVP drive here, 19-7 St. Louis. Back to Dan and Jeff.
All right, JB, thank you very much. We've got 3rd and 4 for the Lions here at the Chicago 42-yard line. Case from the shotgun. 3 receivers in the game. Case throws, looking for Morton. Got him. Nice grab by Morton behind him, and he's down to the 35. That'll be a 1st down for the Lions. Jerry Azuma with the coverage and the stop.
And Johnny Morton was so close to being able to break it open against Jerry Azuma in that matchup on the right side of the field. Look at this. If he has broken that tackle right there, he might have been able to go all the way to the end zone.
Morton today, 5 catches, 52 yards. Lions trailing, as you can see, 13-10. Moments ago, 27-yard pass. Cade McNown to Marty Booker gave Chicago the lead. Lions trying to come back. Case back to pass. Looks, throws. Has Schlesinger to the right. Schlesinger barrels down to the 30. That'll be a pickup of about 4. Get 5 on the play. 2nd and 5 coming up. Again, Jerry Azuma, who's been very busy today, in on that tackle.
And a smart decision by him. Tackling Corey Schlesinger down around the ankles. Corey Schlesinger is not a guy that you're going to want to hit right up in the upper body when he's coming at you full speed. You're just a small defensive back. That's a lot of beef right there in Schlesinger.
Corey Schlesinger is a neck that happens to have legs. 2nd and 5 now for the Lions. 30-yard line. Case again, the quarterback draw. Up to the 20, 15, cuts back, down inside the 15, 13. Another Lion 1st down. 17 yards for Stoney Case on the run.
And that's a designed quarterback draw for the Detroit Lions. There's no question. This is not him wanting to scramble on his own. James Stewart is actually the lead blocker and does a good job of blocking the linebacker to allow Stoney Case to get up into the formation. James Stewart picks up Urlacher. It's just like a lead play, except the quarterback keeps the ball and his backs are his lead blocker.
Lions now at the 13-yard line of Chicago. Stewart the deep back. Throw in motion. Stewart gets the call. Not much in the middle of that line. Nothing there. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Come on across. And Stoney Case probably has more yards rushing than James Stewart does. I wouldn't be surprised a bit.
Case right now, 25 yards rushing. Stewart's got the edge on him with 35, but Stewart's got 13 carries to Case's 2.
Exactly. And Charlie Batch has been on the sideline, throwing off and on, but obviously it hasn't loosened up enough to where he feels comfortable enough getting back in the ballgame.
Charlie Batch re-injured his ribs in the first half, and he's been Stoney Case since then. Chicago also lost its starting quarterback as well. Case, again the quarterback draw, to the 5, to the goal line, touchdown, Lions lead. Stoney Case with a 13-yard touchdown run. Stoney's first of the season, and it is a big one for Detroit and a big one at the Silverdome. Lions take the lead back here in the fourth quarter. Jason Hansen on for the extra point. And it is good. So Stoney Case on for the injured Charlie Batch has put the Lions back in the lead. That is great news for Detroit. Not good news for the Rams. Coming right back.
Brought to you by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. By Energizer E-Squared, the battery with a heart of titanium. By Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa is everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by Nike Shots. Boeing thoroughly experienced and explained at Nike.com.
Back at the Silverdome, quarterbacks coach Jim Zorn talking with Stoney Case and Charlie Batch. Case, of course, on for Batch, and moments ago scored the go-ahead touchdown for Detroit. Now they'll give it back to Chicago. Jason Hansen the kick. Glenn Milburn deep in his own end zone, and he won't bring it out. So Chicago will take over at its own 20, trailing 17-13 in a very important game at the Silverdome. We'll have some fun with this one when we come back.
I'm like, woohoo, Dad!
It was the same play, but from a different formation that Stoney Case works the quarterback draw from. The big window opens up, and you can see it right through there. I mean, you could drive a truck through it. Stoney Case is now actually leading the Detroit Lions in rushing. Now, if you go back as to why they scored, you got to go back to the kickoff by Ettinger, which he kicked it off out of bounds and gave Detroit the ball at the 40-yard line. Bad field position for the Chicago Bears, and Detroit took advantage of it.
Chicago's got it back right now at their own 20, 1st and 10, trailing by 4. McNown, the give to Allen. Hit hard, ball's loose. Down on the ground, looked like McNown may have fallen on it. Now we'll see who comes up with it. They're saying Detroit football.
McNown did not have it. It came out of his once he got jumped on by about 3 Detroit guys. And one of the Chicago offensive linemen, Big Cat, ended up jumping in there and getting the ball back.
Wouldn't it make sense that the Big Cat would be at the bottom of a pile, considering he's a pile all unto himself?
And what a hit by Claiborne on the blitz to knock the ball. As you see, Porcher almost had an opportunity at it, and Big Cat comes in there late. And as you can see, Luther Ellis trying to rip it out of Big Cat's hands, and Big Cat's shaking his head going, you may be strong, Luther, but you're not as strong as me when I've got the ball.
End result, 2nd and 5. Loss of 5, 2nd and 15 for Chicago. McNown back to pass. Little receiver screen to Glenn Milburn. Milburn spins free into the secondary. And the play is dead. The play is dead back at the line of scrimmage. You couldn't hear it in here because of the crowd, but the play is dead. We'll see what Tom White has to say.
It's a delay of game on Chicago.
Delay of game. Offense. The play clock expired. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
And that responsibility falls on the quarterback. The quarterback has to be aware and has to have one eye on the play clock and one eye on the defense, so that when it's getting down close to 0, he needs to accelerate things. He didn't do it there.
So now with 2nd and 20 from their own 10, do you allow McNown to throw? That's the question the Bears have to answer. They did not have confidence in him coming into this game. He was benched. Shane Matthews got the start. Matthews now on the bench with a broken thumb. This game belongs to Cade McNown as far as the Bears are concerned.
Please reset the game clock to 10 minutes and 19 seconds.
And you know, the Detroit crowd was not very loud, except for at one point when Chicago was backed up. But listen to this Detroit crowd now.
To Allen. Allen finds some room out to the 20, stopped by Ron Rice to the 22. Pickup of 7. It'll be 3rd and 13.
And that's a good, safe call when you have a young quarterback in there who's doesn't have a whole lot of confidence probably right now after last week's game. If all of a sudden you put the ball all in his hands, he drops back to throw that ball, he throws an interception, the game could be over.
9:35 to play. Bears with it, trailing by 4. A win, and the Lions go to the playoffs. A loss, and the door is open for the Rams. McNown on 3rd down, throws over the middle, looking for Cincino, and overthrows him.
And he had Cincino. Cincino was open. And he was very lucky that because it sailed over to Cincino's head, Ron Rice was sitting right back there in the area. Look at him. He's wide open. That was a tough ball to catch over the hands of Cincino.
And that would have been a first down for Chicago. Instead, they'll have to kick it away. Louis Aguiar will do that with Desmond Howard deep. Aguiar gets it off. Howard back at his own 35-yard line. Howard to the 40, dances across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Finally taken down there. Flag on the play. We'll have to wait and see what that happens. 49-yard punt, 9-yard return. See what Tom White has for us in the way of a flag.
And the penalty, the flag itself is over on Chicago's sideline, so probably has something to do with the flyer on the punt coverage unit and the blocking of him.
Going to be a big one against the Lions. We'll have to wait to see what the exact call is, but as you said, it came in over by the Chicago bench. Picture on looking on. Gary Moeller on the Lions sideline, his 7th game as the Lions head coach. Took over when Bobby Ross resigned. Now he has this team on the brink of the playoffs, but he needs a victory today to get there.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 17 on the receiving team went out of bounds to block one of the kicking team members during the kick. This is a 15-yard penalty. It'll be a first down for Detroit. Timeout.
And that's Larry Foster, one of the wide receivers for Detroit. He was trying to block one of the coverage guys over there on Chicago's sideline.
Jingle bell rock, jingle bells swing and...
The penalty is on Larry Foster, number 17, who's a wide receiver, a rookie free agent for Detroit. You see the shot in which he hits Frankie Smith, number 29 for the Chicago Bears, out of bounds? You cannot do that. You have to allow the coverage guy to get back in bounds. And as you can see by the smart Lamar Campbell, who actually laid off and did not try to hit Larry Foster out of bounds. That's a tough penalty to have in Week 16 of a season because a rookie should no longer be playing like a rookie. And obviously he did not know or was not aware of the rule which you cannot hit a guy out of bounds.
Well, it backs the Lions up all the way back to their own 21 after the 15-yard penalty. And that's where they'll take over. Stoney Case still in at quarterback. We've seen Charlie Batch throwing the football. We don't anticipate seeing him again today. Charlie Batch leading the game in the first half. Injured ribs. There you see the penalties today. Actually, that's the first one of the afternoon on Detroit. Gary Moeller would be happy with that, but not happy with the timing of it. Take a look at Larry Foster there on the sideline. He's actually been a pleasant surprise for the Lions. It's receiver so far. A rookie free agent out of LSU.
And Gary Moeller was giving it to him when he got to the sideline about that penalty.
3 receivers in the game for Stoney Case and the Lions. Herman Moore in motion. The gives to Stewart, right side, and room. Stewart out across the 25 to about the 28. Jerry Azuma on the tackle. Pickup of 2nd. 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Just to remind you, the Lions playoff scenario. If they win today, they are in. If they lose and St. Louis wins down in New Orleans, and they are winning right now, then St. Louis would go to the playoffs. So a lot of people keeping an eye on this football game right now. Gary Moeller is hoping that his team can pull it out.
In New Orleans and Green Bay, there are a lot of players who are peeking up at the scores from around the league, and in particular this game right here.
Well, if the Rams feel helpless, they can't even imagine how Green Bay feels. They need a lot of help. Case out to Herman Moore. First down across the 30 to the 34. Pickup of 6 on the play.
And this is what the Detroit offense needs to do. They need to chew some of the game clock up with a drive that's just taking little pieces of yardage at a time. Keep the chains moving, keep the clock moving, and hopefully put some points at the end of the game. You know, right now they're up by 4 points. Chicago gets a touchdown, they win the ball game. So if Detroit can go ahead and at least get a field goal, then Chicago would have to score a touchdown to at least tie the ball game.
Jerry Azuma down, probably from exhaustion. He has been in on a number of plays today. We'll have to wait to see what the word from the Chicago bench is. 7 tackles for Azuma so far in this game, and he has played well. We'll take a break, come right back. Lions leading the Bears 17-13 in Pontiac, Michigan. Back at the Silverdome, 8:11 to play. Detroit leading Chicago 17-13. Dan Miller, Jeff Lageman with you. Happy holidays. The Lions are trying to make it a very happy Christmas in Detroit. They come up with a victory today. They're headed to the playoffs. Stoney Case back to pass. Throws. Looking out there for Johnny Morton. Finds him. Morton makes the catch. Pickup of 8 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 2.
And that's what they're doing. They're just on a very controlled passing game with Stoney Case. Not trying to get anything fancy. Short routes. 5, 6, 7-yard routes. And hand the ball to James Stewart so they can chew the clock up and keep Chicago's offense on the bench.
Gary Moeller looking on. Stoney Case, 2nd and 2. Schlesinger, the up back. Stewart, the deep back. He takes the pitch. Stewart to the 40, to the 45. Finally run out of bounds there by Mike Brown, but it's enough for another Lions first down. And the key here is, Jeff, as you said earlier, they keep the clock moving.
And in a nice, strong run by James Stewart. You know, we talked about Case in the short passing game. He's 10 of 15 in this game for 70 yards. Nothing has been longer than 12 yards. Controlled passing attack. Unlike what we saw with Charlie Batch. When Charlie Batch was in this game, you saw some throws downfield. The drop with to Herman Moore and then the seam route to David Sloan for the touchdown. They haven't done that with Stoney Case in this game yet.
Lions near midfield. 1st and 10, their own 46. Split receivers, 1 right, 1 left. Case under pressure, throws it away. And he was under a lot of pressure from Roosevelt Colvin.
And this was an excellent call. It was a bootleg, and Roosevelt Colvin just comes off the outside of the formation on a blitz and is right in the face of Stoney Case as he turns around on the bootleg action.
Colvin, a 4th-round draft pick back in '99. And now a starting linebacker for the Bears. R.W. McQuarters has come in for Jerry Azuma, who was shaken up a couple of moments ago. 2nd down now, 10 for the Lions. 3 receivers in the game. Case back to pass. Throws. Picked up by McQuarters. Comes the other way. McQuarters to midfield, to the 40, the 30, the 20, 10, 5. Touchdown Bears. They take the lead back.
And maybe this is why they did not want to do anything down the field with Stoney Case at quarterback. The first throw, which he throws the ball downfield, is picked off. Critical mistake.
R.W. McQuarters with his first pick of the year, and it is a big one. Big for the Bears, could be big for the Rams. Remember, if the Lions lose this game and the Rams win down in New Orleans, then it's the Rams that will go to the playoffs. And you can see how quickly that playoff scenario can change, and so too can Gary Moeller.
I guarantee you there were some cheers that went on right now in St. Louis and in Green Bay when they flashed this up on the scoreboard.
Paul Edinger with the extra point. It's up and good. Now it's the Bears that jump back on top. 20-17, a big defensive play.
And this was just a bad throw. As you can see, Jermaine Crow cuts across the middle, but he is actually, McQuarters is sitting right on it. I mean, you couldn't have asked for better coverage. Now, I don't know what Stoney Case was looking at, but I mean, it's easy to see from up here, but I tell you what, you could see that R.W. McQuarters was sitting right up underneath the route. there was never any doubt that he was covering it.
McQuarters, who had just checked into the game for Jerry Azuma, who had been shaken up, and he checks in a big way.
Look at the vision of Stoney Case. I mean, look, R.W. McQuarters is right in his line of sight to Jermaine Crowell. I don't know what he was looking at or what he was seeing. Maybe the guys up front blocked his vision somewhat, and he was just throwing at a spot, expecting Crowell to open up. But R.W. McQuarters did a great job of staying underneath the route and making the play. A lot of guys, a lot of times, they're in position, but they don't make the play. But to make the catch and then score a touchdown on it, big-time play.
Stoney Case and the Lions came in at 9-6. R.W. McQuarters and the Bears came in at 4-11. But you can throw the records out right now with 6:31 to play. It doesn't mean anything at this point. This is a football game.
And the Bears have been struggling all year, but the one thing that's been consistent with the Chicago Bears is their defense, and that's their effort level. They've been consistent every single week.
3 lead changes in the second half so far, and the latest one has shifted this one towards Chicago. Edinger to kick off. Desmond Howard deep, short kick. Howard takes it to his own 14-yard line. Howard to the 30. 35, out to the 36, and dropped there. That's for the Lions, and Stoney Case will take over. 22-yard return. This reminds you again of what's happening in the NFC playoff picture. If Detroit wins, they're going to the playoffs. If Detroit loses and St. Louis wins down in New Orleans, St. Louis would go in. Green Bay needs a lot. They need to beat Tampa Bay. They also need Detroit and St. Louis to lose. You can see their 5 teams have already clinched playoff berths.
And Green Bay needs for the New Orleans Saints to score some points in a hurry for them to have an opportunity.
Well, the Saints have drawn within 5 of St. Louis now. St. Louis leading 19-14. Green Bay leading Tampa Bay on a very cold day at Lambeau Field. And what else is new in December? Case, the pitch to Stewart. Good pursuit out there, and Stewart's got nowhere to go. And he's down at the 34-yard line and not getting up very quickly. Mario Bates is going to come on, and Stewart is going to limp off. 2nd and 11 after a loss of 1.
On the Detroit Lions, I mean, here you are, you're down by 3 points. You've already lost your starting right tackle, your starting quarterback, and now you may be losing your starting running back in James Stewart. Tony Parrish does a real nice job of beating the block of Jermaine Crowell and getting into the backfield and keeping James Stewart contained.
2nd 11, Case again with a quarterback draw, and this time the Bears were ready for it. Not much there, picks up a couple. Jason Hanson on the sidelines for Detroit. Them being 3 points down, you can't help but think that this may at some point come down on his shoulders. Or shall I say his leg.
Well, and Hanson's a good kicker now. I mean, this guy has been to the Pro Bowl. He's having a pretty solid year. It's not like he's a guy that, you got a lot of question marks like they have on the other side of the field. Edinger, who's the rookie, but you don't know how he's going to react in a game-tying kick situation.
5 defensive backs in for Chicago. 3rd and 9. Case looks, throws. It's going to be picked off again by McQuarters. Just across midfield at the 47-yard line. Case just floated it out there, and McQuarters was in the right place to make a great play. And now, wait a second. There is some discussion down on the field and a flag as well. And that flag could be very, very important for the Detroit Lions.
And the officials have a conference going to shake things out.
See what Tom White has to say about this.
Holding. Number 26. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. An automatic first down.
Todd McMillan was coming at cornerback to replace Zuma in the nickel defense. Called for holding. An automatic first down for the Lions, and a big play in this football game because the Lions remain alive.
And McMillan was man coverage on Herman Moore, and look at this. He just takes Herman Moore down. And that's Herman Moore obviously initiated some of it, but McMillan finished it off and got the flag.
1st and 10 at the 41 for Stoney Case. Throws across midfield, complete. Jermaine Crowell with the catch. Pickup of 13 and another first down for Detroit. Mike Brown in there on coverage, and he made the stop.
And Stoney Case better make sure he takes a deep breath. He forced the interception that got returned for a touchdown to R.W. McQuarters. And then on that last play that they ended up getting fortunate on because of the call on McMillan, he forced that throw as well. He just needs to relax.
3 receivers in the game for the Lions. Moore in motion. Case the quarterback. Case gives him a delay. Mario Bates with a run. Goes left. Not much there. Taken down by Brian Urlacher. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8 coming up. As we now move inside of 4 minutes to go in this football game at the Silverdome.
And Mario Bates originally thought, I'm going to go ahead and beat Brian Urlacher to the outside. Then all of a sudden he got a taste of Urlacher's speed, and he said, you know what, I better try and spin back underneath. Urlacher is defensive back fast. That's how fast he is. And big, 250 pounds.
If you're wondering about Jason Hansen's range, his longest this year, 54 yards. The Lions are thinking touchdown. 2nd and 8 from the 44. Case, nowhere to go. Chase dropped at about the 42-yard line. It'll result in a pickup of 2. 3rd down and 6 coming up.
And Roosevelt Coleman almost had him by the collar in the backfield. Just missed him, so of course Detroit avoids the sack, but this brings up a huge 3rd down right here. This is 4-down territory for Detroit. If they don't make the 1st down, they're probably going to have to think long and hard and probably call a timeout and consider going for it on 4th down.
Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. Detroit so far today, 6 out of 12 on 3rd down conversions. Case with 3 receivers left. Now Crowell to the right. Play clock down to 3. They get it off. Case looks, throws, has Moore out there, but overthrows him at the 25-yard line. Again, R.W. McQuarters on the coverage. Now that brings up that 4th down decision that you just talked about.
And I think this is where you're going to see them take as much time with the play clock and try to figure out what they want to do. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them. There's 20 seconds left on the play clock. I wouldn't be surprised to see them call a timeout when it gets down to close to 0 and just talk about it. Because they didn't have everybody in the huddle. Herman Moore was late getting out on the field here.
Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. As I said, play clock down to 5, 4. Case in the shotgun. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Flag down, plays dead. I don't think they got it off.
No, it was
be
a
motion up
false
front as
start.
well.
And that was because they didn't have everybody in the huddle prior to the play to where they could get the call and get lined up. They were trying to rush it, and Stoney Case was trying to accelerate the snap count, and people started moving. They should have just used the timeout.
It's an illegal snap. Center double clutch the ball. The 5-yard penalty remains 4th down.
So Mike Compton called for the penalty, and now the Lions will have to kick it away as it's 4th and 11, and they'll have to rely on their defense and the 3 timeouts that they have remaining.
And that was Compton with the double clutch snap. Now, it's the smart thing. You've got 3 timeouts left. Go ahead and call a timeout. Make sure that everybody talks about the play that's called and make sure everybody is aware of what you are trying to accomplish as an offensive coordinator during the timeout. Bring the whole offensive team to the sideline. Instead, they don't call a timeout, and they force the play itself. They get a penalty call. Now they're going to have to expect their defense to stop Chicago, and Chicago hasn't, or Detroit's defense hasn't stopped Chicago recently because Chicago's been running the ball so well.
Jet to punt. Milburn is deep. Jet gets it away. Good high punt. Milburn at his 10. He'll let it bounce at about the 4. Gets a good bounce back towards the 10, and finally down by Ron Rice. So with 2:33 to go in this game, Chicago will take over once again. The situation is this. The Lions need the football back because they are behind. If they win, they go to the playoffs. If they lose, as we have told you, the Rams will be on their way. Chicago, let's make this clear. They would like nothing more than for Detroit to miss the playoffs after a victory here today at the Silverdome. Talked to James Big Cat Williams yesterday. Good friends with Robert Porcher. They've been going against each other for years. The Big Cat said to us, I would like to walk over to Robert Porcher after the game and ask him what he's going to be doing during the playoffs and invite him to my house to watch the games.
Yeah, James and Robert have had some battles that have lasted a number of years.
James Allen gets the call right here.
The ball is loose.
Ball might have come loose. We'll see what the call is. Right now, no signal. Lions say they have it. Nothing from the official as of yet. Ron Rice signaling Detroit football, but it doesn't look like the official agrees. Yes, he does. Lions football, and a huge play. James Allen with the fumble, Detroit with the recovery. So with 2:22 to play, the Lions will have it 1st and 10 at the Chicago 9-yard line. Take another look at this. There you saw the ball come loose.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Dick Duran challenge this because of the magnitude of the call itself. But it looks like Alan Aldridge came in on the tackle of James Allen, and his left arm looks like it just poked the ball out.
The Lions offense is out on the field, the Bears defense out as well, and it does look like that football is loose. As you mentioned, a great play by Alan Aldridge, and perhaps a season-saving play by Alan Aldridge.
Well, and you know, there was a lot of people in this Silverdome that left this ball game, and you know what? They might be running through the snow to get back in here to watch the end of this ball game.
We saw Dick Duran with the red flag out. He put it back in his pocket. Now the officials are going over. And as you said, there's a very good chance that he would have to take a look at this again.
If you read his lips, it will challenge it.
Chicago is challenged and ruling on the field that this is a fumble.
And you have to, just because of the magnitude of it.
Take another look at the right side of your screen, and you see the ball come loose before Allen's knee goes down. It would be very difficult to see this one overturned.
And look at the ball is actually still under James Allen's leg right there. And I don't think any of them are aware that the ball is out except for James Allen. And look, there's Alan Aldridge. The ball is out, and it's actually right up underneath of Aldridge. And look what happens. Supernall comes in because he sees that the ball is out, and he's digging underneath everybody's legs trying to get the ball out. There's Supernall right here. See, he saw the ball come out. He's up in there trying to dig through everybody's legs trying to get the ball.
Take another look. This is a good angle right there. The ball is loose, and the knees are not down, clearly, as the crowd reacts to that as well.
No question. That's a fumble, Detroit's ball on the 10-yard line.
And just to set the scene again for you, this becomes a very important and perhaps the season for Detroit, this possession. They are trailing by 3, assuming they keep the football. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the Chicago 10. And they need to get this ball into the end zone. A field goal would tie, but they're thinking touchdown and victory right now.
Yeah, you cannot think field goal in this situation right here if you're Detroit. You've got to think touchdown. And, you know, and eating some of the game clock up in the process wouldn't hurt. Both teams still have all of their timeouts.
We will get the verdict from Tom White right now.
You'd like to score, but in reality, you don't want to score too quick.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. This is the first down for Detroit. Timeout, Chicago.
And now Chicago, because of the challenge, loses the timeout. Now they only have 2 timeouts left.
Lions trailing 20-17.
And that's clear as a bell. I mean, Alan Aldridge comes in. Both of James Allen's legs are off of the ground. He's trying to lunge forward. Ball is out and on the ground. That's a good call by the official.
And you can see the signs of a long day at battle right there. Lions trailing 20-17, 2:22 to go. They've got the football after the turnover. James Allen's fumble recovered by Detroit, and we are ready to go. And this is the same area in which Stoney K scored earlier in this half on a quarterback draw.
Yeah, and I think Chicago is going to be aware of that. I think they're going to keep Urlacher in the middle of formation to be aware of that quarterback draw if they get to a 2nd and 3rd and long situation.
Case with the give right there to Stewart, goes over the left side, picks up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. And Detroit make that Chicago will call timeout now, trying to protect the clock with 2:14 to go. They want a chance to get the football back, figuring that at worst, Detroit will tie the game here. In worst case scenario for Chicago, Detroit would score a touchdown and go ahead. Just to remind you one more time of what is at stake here, If the Lions were to win this game, they would be in the playoffs. Meanwhile, down in New Orleans, Rams and Saints battling. Rams leading by 5. If the Rams were to win and Detroit were to lose this, the Rams would go to the playoffs. In Green Bay, it's the Packers and Buccaneers battling. If both teams lose, being the Rams and the Lions, then the Packers win, they would go to the playoffs. But first things first, what they're thinking about here in Pontiac, the Lions are thinking about a victory, which would put them into the postseason.
And this has been a crazy game. Both quarterback situations have been up in the air at one time or the other.
Both starting quarterbacks have left the game. Shane Matthews, a broken thumb. Charlie Batch, re-injuring his ribs. So this one now being played out by Stoney Case and Cade McNown. 2 tight ends set for Detroit. 2 backs behind Case. Schlesinger the up back, Stewart the deep back. Herman Moore in motion. Case gives to Stewart. Left side, not much. Gives maybe the 5. Stop there. Another pickup of 2. 3rd down and goal coming up. And Chicago again will call timeout. So with 2:06 to go, they will stop the clock one more time before the 2-minute warning. Let's go back and recap what has happened so far in this football game, and it has been a good one. Injuries have been a big part. Brian Urlacher on a blitz right there, nailing Charlie Batch. He was gone for the game. Then you can see Shane Matthews breaking his thumb when he hit it against James Hall. He was gone for the game. On came Cade McNown, completed that 27-yard touchdown pass to Marty Booker. Bears had the lead. Lions took it back on the quarterback draw. Then Bears took it back. R.W. McQuarters with a 61-yard interception return for a touchdown. And Chicago was leading this football game after a huge defensive play. And we stand right now with Chicago leading 20-17. Lions with the football. Big play right here. 3rd and 5 at their own 5. They need a touchdown to go ahead.
And Detroit has to take a shot. One shot at least. They ran the ball on 1st and 2nd down. They need to take a shot. And watch for the alley-oop to Herman Moore, who has man coverage over here on this side of the formation. That's where they should go with it.
3rd and goal. Case. Crowell in motion. Fakes the give. Scrambles. In trouble. And down he goes at the 8. Big defensive play by Chicago, and that'll bring up 4th down. And that will also bring us to the 2-minute warning. Detroit with a field goal attempt coming up to tie this game. We'll have it when we come back.
On the 3rd down play, when you have a 6'4" Herman Moore, who's a veteran who does this all the time against a 3rd team, 5'10" quarterback, Stoney Case, you've got to take a shot to Herman Moore in the end zone. That should have been a touchdown.
That play brings us to this. Jason Hanson with a 26-yard field goal attempt to tie this game. The punter, John Jett, to hold. Lions trailing by 3, needing this to tie the score. Spot, kick, up, and it's good. And we are now tied at 20 apiece with 1:56 to play in the game. Keep in mind, to set the stage, the Lions have 3 timeouts remaining. Chicago has none.
And when you're in that kind of a critical situation, the snap and the hold to tie the game is so critical. And an excellent job by John Jett with the hold and Compton on the snap.
The Lions now will have to give it back to Chicago. So you take another look at Hanson's game-tying field goal.
And that's just a chip shot for Jason Hanson. I'm sure he doesn't even, his heart rate probably doesn't even rise a beat when it comes to kicking a chip shot like that, even when it's in the 4th quarter to tie the game.
But going back to that 3rd and goal play, that might be one that the Lions take a look at for a long time if they would end up losing this game.
I mean, in my mind, when you have Herman Moore, I mean, how many times have people in Detroit and in Chicago seen the alley-oop to Herman Moore in the corner of the end zone? This guy was a high jump champ in college. I mean, we want to talk about vertical jumping ability. I mean, just throw it up there and let Herman either make the catch or become a defender and bat it so nobody gets it.
1:56 to go. Jason Hanson set to kick off. Glenn Milburn is deep. Hanson sends it into the end zone. Milburn will take it 2 yards deep and bring it out. Milburn back to the 10, to the 20, and finally brought down by Clint Freewall. So Chicago will take it over at the 23-yard line.
Well, and Larry Foster, who was also involved in that personal foul where he hit the cover guy out of bounds, also had an impact on that kickoff coverage, making a play against Milburn, trying to make up for his mistake earlier.
1:50 to play. Cade McNown back on for the Bears. The crowd at the Silverdome doing what they can to help out. James down on the lone setback, McNown from the shotgun. 4 receivers in the game. McNown throws, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Looked like number 63, James Hall, got a hand on it.
And you take a look at the play, and James Allen is against James Big Cat Williams, and he's actually where it kicks Robert Porcher down in against the guard, and Porcher does a great job of getting his hands up. If you're not going to be able to get a hit on the quarterback, get your hands up and knock the ball down, because Cade McNown is not the tallest quarterback in the world.
1:45 to go, 6 defensive backs for the Lions. McNown out left side, complete to Eddie Kennison. Pickup of 5 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. 1:39 to play. Want to welcome all of you that watched the Washington Redskins defeat the Arizona Cardinals today. We are tied at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. 20-20, 1:39 to play. Dan Miller and Jeff Lageman with you. Cade McNown in at quarterback. The starter, Shane Matthews, left the game with a broken thumb. McNown back on 3rd down. Again knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Luther Ellis gets a big paw on the football, and the Lions will get it back.
And Cade McNown is not the tallest quarterback in the world. Luther Ellis does a nice job of getting his hand up. It was a 3-man rush. He wasn't going to get home in free right here in the middle. He's got 2 or 3 guys blocking him, so he does a smart thing and just gets an arm up. Excellent play by Luther Ellis.
I want to welcome all of you that have joined us. We have a great game here at the Silverdome and a lot riding on it. Louis Aguiar in to punt the ball away for Chicago. He kicks it to Desmond Howard, who is deep for Detroit. Howard with a fair catch, takes it at his own 39 to reset what is happening here. If the Lions win, they are in the playoffs. If the Lions lose, the door is open for the St. Louis Rams. Let's recap and show you exactly what's happened in this game. Injuries have been a key. Charlie Batch re-injuring his ribs, went out on that play. Shane Matthews, a broken thumb, went out on that play. Touchdowns, we've had some big plays. A 27-yard pass from McNown to Marty Booker. Chicago had the lead. Stoney Case on to replace Batch. Gave the lead back to Detroit with that quarterback draw. Then a big play for the Bears. R.W. McQuarters with the pick and a 61-yard return. Chicago had the lead moments ago. Jason Hanson, a 26-yard field goal, and this game is now tied at 20 apiece. 3 receivers for the Lions. James Stewart, the lone setback, and Stewart will get the call. A little bit of room to the left side, out over the 45 to the 46-yard line. Mike Brown on the stop. Pickup of 7, 2nd and 3. 1:18, 1:17, 1:16 to play. We might be ticking down to a Jason Hanson field goal attempt.
And we talked about the pressure of being in a must-win game. That pressure may all fall on 3 people, the snapper, the holder, and Jason Hanson.
Lions need about 18 or 20 more yards to get into his range. The throw, complete, gets it to David Sloan, and the Lions will use one of their 3 timeouts after picking up the first down.
And Stoney Case has to make sure that he plays within himself. He cannot be aggressive and try and force the ball like he did on 2 occasions earlier in this half. He just needs to be patient, doing what he's been doing since he's been out there earlier in the game, and that's Dinkin and Duncan. They have 53 seconds left with 2 timeouts. Plenty of time when you've got a kicker like Jason Hanson.
This is the game that can open the door to the playoffs for the Rams. It can open the door to the playoffs for the Packers, or it can introduce the Lions to the playoffs as well. If they win, they're in. It's just that simple. 53 seconds to go. They've got it 1st and 10 on the Chicago 48. Jason Hansen's career long is 56 yards. His long this year, 54.
And he's 2 for 2 outside of 50 this year, so he has been very accurate with the long-range field goal.
First down, 10 at the 48. Case again, 3 receivers. Back, Rose looking for Morton and misses him down around the 42-yard line. R.W. McQuarters on the coverage. It was R.W. McQuarters' pick of a Stoney Case pass that gave Chicago the lead earlier in this game.
And if you'll look at Mike Compton out there on the field, he's trying to get everybody to relax and play. This is where the pressure keeps building and building in this ball game for the Detroit Lions offense.
You saw Jason Hansen a moment ago. They would need about 10 or 12 more yards to get into his range. Second down and 10. Case will go from the shotgun. Case back, pressure comes, gets out of it. Case rolling to his left. Now thrown down, loses the football, still loose, and it looks like the Bears have it. They do. Stoney Case slammed to the ground, the ball came loose, and Roosevelt Colvin came up with the football. So just like that, the Lions go from being in a great position to now having to stop the Chicago offense.
And this is a blitz by the defensive backs of Chicago, as you can see. One of them rolls up in it, but look at the shot that he takes by R.W. McQuarters, the guy who's now becoming the player of the game with the interception return for a touchdown. And now he may end up giving Chicago the ball with enough time to kick a game-winning field goal.
39 seconds to go. Bears have no timeouts left. Cade McNown, the quarterback. 4 receivers in. McNown back, throws, has Allen at the 50, trying to get towards the sideline, won't get there. Stopped inbounds at the 46. The clock will run with 29, 28, 27 seconds. 9-yard gain at second and 1.
And Chicago is out of timeouts. McNown needs to go ahead and spike it.
McNown doesn't spike it, instead throws towards the sideline. Almost picked off a dangerous pass out there. Darnell Walker in coverage, and you have to wonder why McNown didn't just spike the ball there.
And then I like going ahead and having the quarterback spike him in that situation. And I know there was a second down play, which he probably had 2 plays called, but it has a tendency to calm everybody down because you're in a 3 and 4 down territory. All you need, basically, if you're Chicago, is one completion, but it has to be near the sideline to stop the clock. If it's not near the sideline, they cannot stop the clock here.
Third down 1, McNown from the shotgun, 4 receivers, throws over the middle, knocked down by Stephen Boyd. Now decision time. It is 4th and 1 for Chicago. And with only 12 seconds left, you would figure they could give this a shot, but if they don't make it, they give the ball right back to Detroit.
But they've got to go for a completion that is near the sideline so they can stop the clock and get their field goal unit on the field.
Want to welcome all of you that have been watching the Rams and the Saints. Rams fans, you have a vested interest in this one. Lions, Bears tied at 20. 12 seconds to go. 4th and 1. McNown from the shotgun. Throws. Has James Allen. Steps out of bounds at the 37. That'll be a first down. And if you're thinking about Paul Edinger, the kicker for the Bears, already today, the longest kick of his career, 50 yards. This will be longer than that.
Yeah, but I'm telling you one thing. He had about 15 yards to spare on that 50-yarder that he kicked earlier in this ballgame. You want to talk about pressure. This is tremendous pressure on a rookie. 6th-round draft pick, as I said, out of Michigan State. This is going to be a 54-yard field goal attempt.
Edinger lines up. 54 yards. It would knock the Lions out of the playoffs. The kick is up, and it is good. It is good. With 2 seconds to go, the Lions will need a miracle now to make the postseason.
What a huge pressure kick by Paul Edinger. What a kick. 54 yards, and he even had room to spare on that one.
The rookie from Michigan State comes back to Michigan and haunts the Lions. And what a day he has had. The game winner from 54. This is it. Take another look.
I talked earlier about the critical point of having a hold, a snap, and a kick. It's three guys that are important as well as the protection. And talk about excellent job in all three areas. Patrick Manley, the snapper, Louis Aguiar, the holder, and Paul Ettinger, the kicker.
And the Lions will need to pull something off now on this kickoff, something miraculous.
And if Chicago is smart, they will just squib kick it down the middle so nobody for Detroit can have anything set up for some kind of trick return. Do not give them something that's comfortable to return. And look at the disappointment on the Detroit Lions players' faces.
Well, as disappointed as they are, the St. Louis Rams are looking on with a lot of interest. If the Lions don't win this game, the Super Bowl champs will in fact be back in the playoffs with the chance to defend. And there are only 2 seconds left in this one. There you see the Rams playoff scenario. They clinch a playoff berth with a win versus New Orleans, and Detroit lost today. They have in fact beaten the Saints. So now 2 seconds to go in this one. They will wait to see whether or not the Bears can hold on or whether or not the Lions can pull something off here.
And this is not a situation for Detroit where you can have something in the playbook. This is just something that's just going to happen if it can happen.
Kicks it short. Desmond Howard takes it at the 28. Howard back to the 40, to the 45, to the 50. Still going, but stopped just across midfield at the 45. And that's it. The Bears pull off the upset. The Rams move on to the playoffs after the Lions lose 23-20.
You know, and as we said at the beginning of the show, when you're in a must-win game, the pressure can be very intense, and the longer it stays closer in a game, the pressure keeps building and building and building, and as long as the opponent stays close, the favor works to their advantage, and sure enough, it did for the Chicago Bears.
Well, it stayed close, and they came up with some big plays, in particular, the 61-yard interception returned by R.W. McQuarters, which spelled the difference in this one. And the Bears and Brian Urlacher, their rookie linebacker, come in here and knock Detroit off. And all the Lions had talked about all week was the fact that if they could win, they were in, but they knew it was going to be a tough one. And we sensed from the Bears yesterday, Jeff, that they were here to win, not here to just park the car and say goodbye to the season.
After such a disappointing season as they've had, they needed something that was going to end this season for them on a positive note to go into the offseason with something to build on. And they've got it today.
So the Rams move into the playoffs. The Super Bowl champs are still alive by virtue of this victory by the Bears on a 54-yard field goal by Paul Ettinger. This is Dan Miller for Jeff Lageman saying so long from Pontiac, Michigan. Final score, the Bears 23 and the Lions 20. Be sure to stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader.